And that's the kind of football that I like. That's the kind of football that I like. That's the kind of football that I like.
So Subiaco and East Perth fighting for the right to keep their premiership aspirations alive here. The winner will play West Perth in next week's preliminary final. The Subiaco lineup you can see there, and they've got a nice blend of AFL experience here. A Daniel Parker named at centre half back, Todd Ridley, who's led the goal kickers, played for a couple or three AFL clubs, and Dean Irving and Tony Godden in the first ruck, Gary.
Yes, it's a very good lineup, there's no doubt about that. Good blend of young players coming on, also some very promising young players that are either on AFL lists or about to be. Des Headland, probably the most interesting player of them. He's a quality performer, there's no doubt about that. I think he's probably the #1 draft pick on the books of most AFL clubs, and I would expect that he would be picked up by whoever has the #1 pick, whether it's traded or not. But I expect Des Headland to be the #1 pick. He's an exciting player, but looking forward to the contest. Both sides' form in the last months has been a little bit patchy, and really, well, there's no chances, there's no tomorrows for the loser today. And
obviously one of the key battles is going to be Ryan Turnbull leading the East Perth ruck up against Dean Irving.
Yes, that'll be a great contest. Obviously Ryan Turnbull will be very keen to do well, as will Dean Irving. But yes, that's quite a good lineup. Walker coming back into the side. He's been having Docker's duties for the last month or so. They dropped some players, including Scott Loving, who's been a proven performer for him. Otway comes back into the side. So the side looks good on paper, just their form and their confidence has been down in the past month or so. But certainly there, a lot of ability in that lineup.
Here's the East Perth team going through their paces. The loser goes into mothballs for season 1998. East Perth came oh so close to ending their drought 2 years ago in 1996. They were pipped on the post. A 2-point margin here in the grand final, going down to the Tigers. Ryan Turnbull there, not playing for the West Coast Eagles this weekend in the start of their finals campaign. Players lining up here for the playing of the national anthem. The lights on here at Subiaco Oval. Still a little bit of natural daylight down at the city end of the ground on top of the cement where the standing room only is. The players lined up here for the national anthem. We're all hoping the standard of this game surpasses the second semi-final. So roar goes up from the crowd. The team's about to break. Phil Lamb is on the boundary, and as we said, Phil, we're hoping that this game has a little bit more spice in it than the second semi-final, but as we know, this game is cutthroat.
Yes, it certainly is cutthroat, Glenn, and I'm pretty sure that will assure that there's plenty of spice in this game. There's going to be plenty of aggression, there's no doubt about that. A good crowd in and stayed around to see this game, so plenty of atmosphere at ground level, but I can assure you, Glenn, the temperature is plummeting. It's very, very cool. It's going to be terrific for the players, though. That breeze is still coming from the east, and so the scoring end is going to be to the right of screen.
Phil Lamb on the boundary throughout our coverage of this first semi-final. Teams just going through their final preparations. Peter Miller has won the toss, and East Perth are going to kick towards the city end, which is into the slight easterly breeze. But we did see in the preceding game, the second semi-final, that you could score at either end of the ground, and I don't think the breeze will be a major factor.
Well, certainly the breeze is favouring, as we know, the three-tier stand, but well, it's possible to score if so long as you work the ball. Certainly East Fremantle proved that they could score against the Breeze, and it's interesting that Peter Miller's won the toss and kicked against it. Normally they go with it.
In fact, I misinterpreted that. Wally's just let us know that in fact it was Subiaco that won the toss and not surprisingly have kicked with the Breeze. Now one of the interchange players coming off here for Subiaco will be hoping for a good game tonight. David Antonowitz, an outstanding youngster, and he's been on the West Coast Eagles list. There's John Dimmer, perhaps trying to get some divine intervention in the lead up to next week's preliminary final. He's on the phone, and I don't think he'd be overly impressed with his team's performance today. But David Antonowitz, a very exciting youngster. The Eagles recruited him from Victoria, but he's been schooling this year. His last year of schooling at John 23rd College in Mount Claremont, and the West Coast Eagles wanted to let him make his schooling this year in year 12 his main focus. So he hasn't spent a lot of time in the gym, hasn't spent a lot of time with the West Coast Eagles, but he's a player that they rate very highly. There's Peter Miller, one of the veterans of West Star Rules competition. And this first semi-final about to get underway. The winner will play West Perth in next weekend's preliminary final for the right to play East Fremantle in the grand final. The loser will join the teams that have already departed the West Star Rules so far in 1998.
Antonowitz, Carmody and Hardingham on the bench for Subi, Otway, Sarah and Marley on the bench for East Perth.
Centre bounce, it's one down by Turnbull. Quick hand pass forward by Devon Perry, but intercepted by Subiaco. The hurried kick towards the members' wing. Roger Perry underneath it, can't take the mark. They have some players at the fall, a free kick. Just as Warland was breaking with the ball, a Subiaco player, Shawcross, had been interfered with off the play by Peter Miller. And a free kick here to Jared Shawcross, who goes short. O'Connor, a hurried kick towards the top of the goal square. Roger Perry in front, Ridley the recovery, and as he's done all season, he gets an early goal. His 74th of the year. He won the Bernie Naylor medal for the most goals in the home and away season, and Subiaco are on the board inside 50 seconds.
Well, yes, a very good start. Subiaco get that first score on the board, but yes, some undisciplined play by Peter Miller, just giving away the ball to Jared Shawcross, too keen to take the eye off the ball and hit the player. It gave him the opportunity to get the ball forward quickly, and then Ridley won out. He's always going to, at this level, always going to cause you enormous problems.
So the ball back in the centre, a flying start for the Lions. Turnbull up high, gets it down, but it's taken by Godden. Gets the hand pass wide. Opportunity out there for Headland. It's broken up by Dwyer. Hand pass comes back to Butcher. He did well to avoid the oncoming tackle, then ran into trouble. Another opportunity here for Subiaco to break it up. The ball spilling free from a player in Carmody. It's Davies on the bench. I said Carmody. In fact, Davies on the bench for Subiaco. And it's Richardson with the free kick. Richardson down towards half forward. Rose at the back, spoiling. Colbung at ground level. Opportunity for Miller. He's under pressure out there from Headland. He keeps the ball in. No, he doesn't. Boundary umpire right on the spot, and he has indicated that it will be thrown in. Scott Gooch going to do the ruck work here for Subiaco, opposed by Richard Graham. The ball to the back and Rose. Plenty of height there for East Perth. Chance for Parker, charging the ball. He met it well, but the disposal wasn't good, and two players down. An East Perth player, I think it's Walker, who applied the tackle on Parker, is down. Turnbull to Butcher, hurriedly to half forward. Wheatley, he can go wide if he wants to. Kicks towards goal. The race is on as they go back for the ball, and it's Holmes who knocks it over the goal line for Subiaco. Gee, that East Perth player was in trouble.
Devon Perry.
Perry it is, sorry. There he is. I didn't actually see what happened. I had to assume that he had tried to bump Parker and has come off second best. Here's the score for East Perth.
He's just touched on the line. I think it was a good saving touch. Really, I don't think that ball was touched at all off the boot, so it could have been a goal. So a good save by Todd Holmes.
Subiaco player all on his own. McFarlane, good kick in, takes the chest mark, plays on. It's a somewhat awkward disposal towards the centre of the ground. No mark taken by the fly there. Gooch, ball on the deck. East Perth desperate in defence here. Dwyer tracks it out towards the half-back boundary, and in the end, he's seen it over successfully. So some very hard hits. Both teams are very fired up for this contest. So
got an interesting 10 or so minutes coming up.
Scott Gooch in ruck. Knocked back though by Rose towards the boundary line, and will have a throw in. Scott Gooch on the Fremantle Dockers list early in that club's time in the AFL, but a knee injury forced him out. There he is, looking to regain his footing in senior level football. He wins the ruck contest, but shepherding has been called against Irving, who came in to block Rose's run at Gooch, and Rose has got the free kick. Played 55 games for the Sydney Swans, Gavin Rose, as he kicks towards centre half forward. Subiaco have the numbers. Jeremy Barnard sandwich. Wheatley is crunched. Got a hand pass away under pressure. Turnbull has to bend down. It's a long way for a big man. Gets it away. Intercepted by Irving. Off to Godden. Tucks it under the arm, and a quick left footed a half forward for the Lions.
Potsis was the player who almost took the mark. He's got the free kick opposed to Narkle. He'll have to come back over the mark. He can't kick from there. Simeon. I think he realised that he wasn't going to get away with that. Now the umpires played a free kick up the ground. They've lost contact with one another here, the two umpires. One was umpiring his own game in the forward line, and the other one was umpiring his game in the centre square. But they've worked it all out now, and it will come back to Simeon Potsis at centre half forward for Subiaco. Father Phil played a handful of games for Claremont and a heap of games at amateur level as Ridley comes in, knocked away by Roger Perry. Headland, gee, he was claimed quickly. Colbung, he was under pressure. Narkle has it. Hurried kick, wide of the pack, chopped off by O'Connor. O'Connor across the face of the ground. McFarlane spoiled by Walker. And away go the Royals. James Walker at left centre wing, almost claimed by Hampson. Gets the kick up towards full forward. Not a lot happening up there for East Perth at the moment. Stenglein was under pressure but got the hand pass away. That's going to make life uncomfortable for Nathan O'Connor. Crashing through McFarlane was good football, but that's a good tackle too. He took the tackler on, and the free kick is going the way of Marley. Marley at left centre wing for East Perth. Player Walker out on his own at left half forward. That's been ignored. Now Colbung's on his own. He goes longer towards full forward. Big pack up. Barnard, the flyer from the back, and he has caused interference. And it's going to be a free kick to Daniel Parker at centre half back for Subiaco.
Some intensity in this game with the loser to bow out. The kick towards the members' side. Hurriedly, Hardingham goes to half forward. Rose spoils, but running onto it, O'Connor. Well done by Narkle. Confronted him, knocked the hand pass down. Opportunity here for Marley. Should have been a free kick perhaps. No whistle. Miller was slung to ground. And there's no doubt about that free kick. Peter Miller, one of the veterans at West Star Rules level, goes for a waltz across the half-back line. 3 bounces. He's on the outer side now. Kicks looking for Turnbull. That's a mismatch. Godden couldn't prevent the mark. Turnbull has it. Right wing for the Royals. Hand passes off to the man skirting by in Warland. He goes up looking for Barnard. Endor Perry, the ball knocked away. In fact, it was Loving, not Perry. Here's Godden, a hand pass away, and an opportunity for Subiaco through Carmody. Kicks towards half forward. The Lions have some numbers, but Miller comes from the opposite direction, soccers it away towards the members' side. East Perth are looking pretty good at the moment, despite the fact that they're yet to get a goal on the scoreboard. Subiaco an opportunity. They almost made a meal of it, but O'Connor backs up short cross. That's a good kick. Fletcher, 48 metres out, shoots to the Subiaco end and has put it through. The Lions have their second.
There's very good build-up once again by Subiaco, just working the ball forward. They created a loose man. Some good vision by Nathan O'Connor. You see here Des Headland just toe pokes the ball out to the advantage of Subiaco. What's the vision here of O'Connor? Looks inside, sees the player, finds space. Good vision by Nathan O'Connor to see Fletcher there. And Fletcher's a very good, skillful young player and finished off very nicely.
2 goals to a point. Subiaco in front. 8 minutes played in the first quarter of the first semi-final. Irving up high and Subiaco get the ball forward. Opportunity in there for Shawcross. He wasn't able to pick it up cleanly, and as a result a pack develops and there will be a bounce almost at centre half forward for Subiaco. East Perth need to get themselves into this game on the scoreboard quickly. They're doing well enough in the midfield, but they can't afford to stand Subiaco up a start as Turnbull and Irving do battle. Play on the call from the umpire, as you heard. Wheatley is in there. He's tackled by Richardson. amongst others. And there will be another bounce at centre half forward for Subiaco. Irving, been a very good player for Subiaco this season. And Turnbull does best. Taken by Perry, ran straight into Carmody. Carmody's hurried kick is ineffective in the sense that the umpire had blown his whistle. And we're going to have a bounce, another bounce at centre half forward for Subiaco. Subiaco 2 goals straight. East Perth are a point. Good knockdown, straight to Marley. East Perth go forward and go forward directly. And going back with a flight of the ball, Dan Parker with his mouth guard protruding, or is that Tate? We'll check in a moment. He comes very wide but finds Shawcross. Shawcross now getting his kick under pressure from Wheatley up towards half forward. Dwyer misses the mark. Miller's there. He knew he had spare players behind him. Graham. Can you work that out, Glenn?
He's actually got some wadding, I think, up a nostril.
Is that what it is? As Miller's kick is brilliantly smothered by Godden. Hands it off to Hardingham. He chips it onto the 50-metre line. And Botsis has taken the mark just inside 50 metres. He'll kick from just outside 50. Has a light easterly breeze at his back. Subiaco kicking to the Subiaco into the ground, the western end in this first quarter. They've started well. 2 goals. East Perth yet to kick one. Bots is looking for their third. It's a powerful kick, hasn't quite got the carry. It's a mark. It's a mark to Gooch. Scott Gooch standing tall in the pack. And he will shoot. No, it's a 50-metre penalty also, because the ball was knocked away from him after he'd taken the mark, so he's being straightened up. And he will shoot from the goal line now. Well, the man on the mark is on the goal line, and he's directly in front. Serbia got their third. They're 3 goals straight. East Perth are a point.
Well, certainly good to see Scott Gooch back playing football, and well, a trademark strong mark in a pack. And there we see Dan Parker just trying to see what we had there. We just couldn't quite get that, but you'll see a good strong mark by Scott Gooch in the pack situation. There it is. There he just gets up above in the front position and holds a good strong mark. And yeah, there's the 50-metre penalty also. But he's had a lot of problems, Scott Gooch, 23 years of age, but certainly hasn't played a lot of football for probably 3 years. So many injuries, and good to see him back playing the game.
Yes, Dan Parker's obviously copped one across the nose early in the game. He's got some wadding up his right nostril to obviously prevent him from going off with the blood rule. Advantage free kick. Wheatley goes on, looks for Colbung, the battle of the number ones, and Richardson has infringed in the contest, and Colbung has the free kick.
This is a very similar start to the game we saw East Fremantle and West Perth. East Fremantle jumping out of the blocks. East Perth just need to settle and answer.
It's a 53-point margin to East Fremantle, who have cruised into the grand final. Colbung chips it into the pocket, loving the target. He fell to ground, ball near the boundary line, kept alive by East Perth, but not for long. Simpson knocks it out of bounds for the Lions. Trent Simpson on the Eagles rookie list. So too one of his teammates, Chad Fletcher, who's kicked a goal already for the Lions. Ball thrown in. Turnbull and Irving. Turnbull tried to get clean possession. His kick was smothered by Irving. Ooh. Richardson a dubious disposal in favour of Parker, who knocks it forward. That should have been a push in the back almost. Player cannon into Stengline. In the end it comes back towards Pendleton, who goes short, and Colbung is all on his own. This should be the Royals' first goal of the game.
He's just found a bit of space, just lost his immediate opponent there. Turnover, and Pendleton had a pretty good vision there to be able to just chip the ball, and will obviously find Colbung, and this is an important kick.
Not far away from life membership, Sean Colbung. His 144th game for the Royals, and that's a good kick. East Perth have their first.
Yes, and just what they needed, just to settle things down. Subiaco getting a flying start, the first 3 goals onto the scoreboard. So important from an East Perth point of view to just to answer back and get themselves onto the scoreboard. And here you see Turnbull working hard. The ball eventually comes out through to Pendleton. He has a bit of Purcell. Eventually works its way to Pendleton here. Quick little hands, good vision. Sees Colbung, and finishes off nicely, and Colbarn gets the goal. So certainly what East Perth wanted. Their aggression at the ball can't be denied, East Perth. They're going very hard. Subiaco, obviously a bit of blood rule here. Todd Holmes leaving the ground, but East Perth just getting the goal that they were looking for.
You have the game, where's Wally? Where's the blood? You can't actually see where Todd Holmes is bleeding from, but there it is on the elbow. Thanks, Todd.
Travis Burton has gone on, and he will have the job of marking Scott Loving until Holmes gets himself tidied up. So the ball is back in the centre, and the margin is 11 points as Travis Burton makes his way down to the goal square at the defensive end of the ground as far as Subiaco are concerned. There's Dean Irving eyeing off Ryan Turnbull. Bounce of the ball favours Irving. Knocks it down, but it's knocked forward. Graham picked it up well. Walker pulled off his hand pass. Socket forward by Purcell. Intercepted by Hampson. Hampson towards half forward. Dwyer and Fletcher. Fletcher went back, gave a good contest. Kept Subiaco in this passage of play. And again, Miller is taken high. Oof. Umpire may have been obscured. Peter Miller is just indicating to the umpire where he was grabbed. Looked high to me. Hard to see there. Bounces between left centre wing and left half forward for Subiaco. Rose wins the ball down. Butcher's hand pass was too fierce for Wallen, but he recovers it well. Shrugs the tackle. Gets his kick in the nick of time. Puts it into the centre square. It's not well directed. McFarlane will get to it first. Avoids the attempted tackle from Barnard. Back towards centre half forward. They're pretty direct at the moment. Botts has missed the mark. Hardingham has the ball. Back on goal. And he's missed. Had the chance to hand pass. Fletcher, I think, was the player cruising past on his left, but he was within scoring distance, and so probably can't be blamed for having the kick, but can be blamed for not kicking accurately.
Now Holmes ready to go back on the ground after having that little nick attended to. Miller dangerously short. Wheatley gets it on the volley. Half volley, a hand pass, or knocked it away to Roger Perry. Then to Peter Miller. He's mowing down. Can Subiaco get something? Hand pass from Ridley to Fletcher, who's got his second. Body's lying on the ground, but Fletcher has snapped his second goal, and Subiaco out to a handy break at the 16-minute mark of the first quarter.
Yes, just inefficient use of the football here out of the goal square, and then continually putting players under pressure. Good work by Subiaco to keep applying that pressure, which eventually turns the ball over and results in the direct goal to Fletcher. There's the tackle, turns the ball over. Good work by Ridley, kept the ball alive and got it out to Fletcher, who quickly got the ball onto the boot, and that's a good goal.
Irving and Turnbull go at it again. Irving does best. He got it down to Carmody, but his kick has been marked by Pendleton. Now Purcell for East Perth. Kicks wide. The target is Barnard, and that's a good mark. Barnard, right half forward. Kicks the ball inside 50. Oh, gee. Touched. I thought it was an uncontested attempt at the mark. I didn't see what had happened back on the mark.
So the ball was touched by the man on the mark, and the umpire was calling that.
Which is why at least one of those Subiaco players didn't contest the mark. Loving not paid it. So the bounce is 45 metres out from East Perth's goal. Opportunity for Turnbull. Hooks to the top of the square. That's a terrific effort by Holmes. Loving just playing behind him, hoping he wouldn't get to it, and the bounce may have favoured him.
Hope he didn't graze his elbow again.
Kicks outside 50 and kicks well. Finds Headland. He's at left half back. Around the wing. Not a good kick. Oh, it is a good kick. I thought it had carried Fletcher. He wasn't able to mark. Hand passes back in the direction of a teammate, but ball coming off hands. Chad Fletcher got himself into the game early. Has kicked 2 goals. Only a young player. 2 kicks for the game so far. Irving to the front of the pack. Hardingham takes it away. Hooks down towards half forward. East Perth have the numbers here. Chance at ground level for Narkle. Well done. Wrong-footed Fletcher. And kicks back towards the centre square. Subiaco have the numbers in it at the moment, and down goes O'Connor. But I think he saw that in the nick of time. East Perth have the ball. Wheatley towards full forward. Loving in front this time. Stenglein across the front. Lends support to Holmes. Holmes recovers the ball for Subiaco and now considers the options. There aren't too many. He puts it out in front of Hardingham. Terrific kick and a good mark.
So Subiaco's defence resolute in the opening quarter. They've conceded just the 1 goal to date. East Perth have kicked 4. Hardingham in towards the centre circle. That's not a good kick. Sliding in, tumbling in. Aaron Marley. See there, Daniel Parker with the wadding in the nose, standing the mark. There it is. Copped one early on in the game. Aaron Marley right alongside the centre circle, off half a pace, kicks down the centre corridor. The target, Jeremy Barnard, couldn't mark. Shoveled out by Wheatley to Colbung. Hair pass into the goal square. Loving from 5 metres dribbles it through for the Royals' second.
Certainly a good build-up there once again to create the loose man. Where are their Subiaco opponents? Because Marley just gets the ball inside the contest. And here you go, 3 East Perth players running onto the contest. That leaves Holmes with, well, a no-win situation. To go and meet the man, which you have to do in that situation, or allow an easy goal to your opponent. And Todd Holmes had to commit himself and go out and put pressure on the player in Colbung coming towards him, and the easiest goal to East Perth.
12 points to margin. Turnbull up high, but straight down to Godden. Hampson surrounded. Walker applying good pressure, as is Perry. Off the ground goes Subiaco. Godden's hand pass wasn't good, but it's going to work out all right. And Subiaco bring it away. They've worked this pretty well, actually. Botsis has it again. Puts it up high for Ridley, who should mark. Oh, no, he doesn't. It's better judgment by Gooch. Gee, Ridley really had to sit on the pack, but actually went too far back. And Gooch, with superior judgment, which is what he showed in an earlier pack when he took a mark about 2 or 3 metres out, will shoot for his second goal. He's kicking this time from about 45 metres out, slightly left of centre. Light easterly breeze at his back, so no problem with the distance. It's just a matter of accuracy for Scott Gooch. It's a good firm kick. Subiaco get their 5th. They're 5-1. East Perth at 2-1. Gooch has 2 of the 5, as does Chad Fletcher.
Yes, well, a good strong mark whether Ridley got up here and just put out the East Perth opponents. But look at Scott Gooch, eye on the ball, and just doesn't take his eyes from the ball. A good example of how to take a good strong mark, and it goes back and finishes very, very nicely. As I said before, certainly well deserved by Scott Gooch. It's great to see him back playing football.
Margin back to 3 goals. 1 down by Turnbull. O'Connor's hand pass too slick for both Godden and Richardson. Devon Perry's lost it, regains it. As always, shows plenty of body strength. Knocked on by Roger Perry. This is Colbung, runs in a little circle, sidesteps, touches it down once. Either that or he lost it, then almost drills a hole through his teammate. Up towards half forward, the ball was unable to be controlled. Subiaco desperate in defence, hacking it away. Holmes onto the member side of the ground. Good contest there by Walker. He wrapped up little McFarlane on the ground. James Walker, who played the last 4 games of the year for Fremantle, making his AFL debut, and impressed everyone. He's a great grandson of the legendary Gordon Coventry, who is still, despite Tony Lockett's best efforts, the highest ever goal kicker in the history of AFL football. Well, that was a nice set play. Irving to Carmody, but the 3rd stage didn't quite work. He's kicked it out on the full, Dane Carmody. Colbung to bring it back in. Goes short. Turnbull the target. Up he goes. Couldn't take the mark. Purcell bounces one to the top of the goal square. Brilliantly done by Holmes. He backed himself. Gives it off the Stengline. Subiaco out of danger.
The ball out wide in the direction of Headland, who collides with Butcher once, twice, 3 times. And there'll be a throw in at right half forward for East Perth. East Perth are kicking into the breeze, so they're doing okay here. They trail by 18 points. It's not a fierce breeze, it's not a wind, but it would be worth a few metres on the kick. As the ball is knocked forward by Perry, Godden steals it. Across the face of goal, it comes to Holmes. Subiaco can get out of trouble here. They needed a shepherd, and he got one. Clears the ball towards half-back. It bounces towards centre wing. Marley gets to it first. Does he keep it in? Yes, he has. Under pressure from O'Connor. And eventually the ball goes out of play at right centre wing for the Lions. Subiaco are 5-1-31. East Perth 2-1-13. East Perth won the first 2 games between these clubs this season. Subiaco the 3rd. East Perth by 59 points, then 12 points. Subiaco by 27 points. Free kick taken by Walker towards the point of the square. Turnbull strong overhead. Now he can kick the ball a long way, Ryan Turnbull, and he does. Loving is the target. Holmes from behind. Turnbull almost a good clean grab. Two East Perth players getting tangled up there. Gave Godden the chance to clear. Not a good kick. Makes life difficult for Hardingham. Taken by Turnbull. Infield he goes to Marley. They've got space this time towards centre half forward. Barnard, was he pushed? Yes. Free kick to Barnard. Play on the call. Colbone is 30 metres out and closing. And he has missed.
Gee, that would have been a handy one, Walt. Should have really done better. Sean Colbung did all the hard work and got himself back on his preferred foot, and just in the end wasn't able to steer what should have been a goal to East Perth. I think the advantage rule certainly was on there, and well, Sean Colbung had the opportunity to put a very vital goal on for East Perth.
Trent Simpson to the outer side. The target is Shawcross, who doesn't let him down. Still inside the defensive 50, the Lions. Shawcross towards the outer side. Dan Parker the target. He propped under the ball. Sarah flew over him. The ball eluded both and will have a throw in on the outer wing. As Phil Lamb mentioned pre-match, cool conditions here at Subiaco Oval. A lot of the crowd rugging up. They're happy too, which is good to see. Irving wins it down opposed to Turnbull. It ricochets back to Turnbull, whose hand pass is knocked down there by Headland, who soccers it forward with the left foot. Richardson couldn't keep it inside the field of play for Subiaco and will have a throw in. Turnbull at the back, clean possession, then kicks straight into Hardingham, and the ball will be bounced.
It's like a snowfield there, isn't it?
Like one of those soccer games you sometimes see in Europe.
It's not that cold,
thankfully. 17 points to the Lions. Although, as Wally mentioned, they do have the breeze, which has fluctuated. At times, it's almost died away this quarter, looking at the windsock and the flags at the city end, and then it picks up. It's picked up a little bit at the moment. Turnbull won it down. Pendleton dispossessed. Turnbull does his own work. Gets a kick forward. Spoilt by Simpson overhead. This is Walker. Hurry kick across the body. Dan Parker with the flight. Did well. Sarah got a hand in time. Kent Butcher kicks to the top of the goal square. Loving is there. Knocked away from behind on the bounce by Holmes. Hampson, an awkward hand pass back to Holmes. He must have felt like he was in a pinball machine. Cannon into, and he's a little bit the worse for wear. And he's feeling that one a lot more than the graze on the elbow earlier in the game.
Yep, I think you've probably got to protect the man who's going for the ball, and while his head was down, and I don't think there was any real malice in what happened, it was probably a free kick and a smart one to award. Now the kick comes to centre wing, and Richardson, standing unattended, takes the mark. Plays on quickly. Subiaco in attack for the first time in a couple of minutes. Chance at the front of the pack for Subi. The hand pass coming wide in the direction of Shawcross. Was socked forward, perhaps unintentionally. Fletcher gets it to McFarlane, who threw the ball away. And there'll be a free kick to East Perth, and they don't waste any time. Bit happening off the ball as the clearing kick from Purcell comes up to centre wing. Hampson misses what he should have taken. Weekly infield to Wallen. East Perth taking advantage of the Hampson mistake. He kicks towards centre half forward. Loving props. Holmes gets him out of the way. He's playing well at the moment, Holmes. He's conceded a goal, but only in a situation where Loving got away from him. Hand pass over the top from Shawcross. He knew O'Connor was there. Through the snowfield he goes. Hand pass down to Botsis. Botsis couldn't get it away quickly enough. Stolen by Butcher. Butcher back to Colbung, unattended on the wing. He wanted to go, but Big Dean was hovering over him. Colbung now towards right half forward. Loving leading Simpson to the ball. Good tackle. Too high. Sorry, it wasn't a good tackle. Turnbull was just set to go. Loving with the free kick at right half forward. Yes, it was a bit high. Loving chips the ball in towards Sarah, and he's taken a good mark just outside 50. In fact, he's taken it just inside 50. He'll struggle from there to get the distance. Doesn't try. To Barnard. That's a good mark.
Oh, that's been played. I didn't think the umpire played it.
I was looking at the other umpire too. One umpire didn't show any interest in it at all, but that was because the other umpire, who was off the play, had already blown his whistle. They actually got fairly close together there. Now, we're beyond the 28-minute mark of the first quarter, so a goal here would be very important as far as East Perth are concerned. They trail by 17 points. You would think that's a reasonable margin kicking into this breeze from East Perth's point of view. But if they can get 6 points closer, they will have done very well. Now Waller comes on. And Marley has come off. As Barnard lines up, he'll kick from just inside 50. It's a good, powerful kick, drifting away to the left, and he misses.
Just thinking, Peter Miller, Gary, wears the same number as Tony Liberatore, and some of his tackling tonight has been very reminiscent.
Yes, he's very fired up, Peter Miller, from the word go.
Oh, that's not a good kick in. It's taken by Pendleton, off to Jeremy Barnard. A hand pass away. This is an opportunity for Miller. Back across the body, Loving. Good spoil there by Holmes, who follows up brilliantly. Gee, some of his judgment and the way he's backed himself in the very last line of defence tonight has been superb in this opening quarter.
Yes, Todd Holmes been fantastic down there against Scott Loving. Really good performance by Todd Holmes, and if it hadn't been for him on a few occasions, I think East Perth would have been a little bit more on the scoreboard.
Tasted AFL football, 3 games for the Eagles earlier this season. Turnbull, lovely palm to Colbung, who's ridden into the ground by Carmody. Shaw across the look-away, hand pass to Irving, who reins it in. Back by hand to Richardson. A scrambly left foot kick into the centre circle. They're able to keep it alive, though, Subiaco. Gathered by Gooch. Hand pass to Hampson. That kick's not good. Jeff Narkle, favoured by the bounce. Tries to turn Botsis inside out, then goes short to half-back. The mark to Wall at East Perth. Can they get a late goal? Devon Perry. Marks under pressure from Godden. Just backward of the centre circle, Devon Perry. Almost at the 30-minute mark. It's a good mark. Perry's now gone to half-forward. Jeremy Barnard, an awkward bounce at his feet. This is Walker, almost basketball skills, almost dribbled it up to himself. Wheatley needs to be a good pass. Loving on the lead, takes the mark 45 metres out. And he is a thumping kick. The breeze shouldn't worry Scott Loving, who's taken that with a very strong vice-like grip. One of the few times he's beaten Todd Holmes one-on-one.
So it was a very good effort by Jeremy Barnard there. He led out and kept the ball in front of himself. He didn't let the ball get behind him. The kick was a half volley, but he just really did work hard to keep the ball in front of him, where he had East Perth teammates, and they were able to work the ball to eventually get it to Loving.
Recruited from West Adelaide, looking for his second goal of this first semi-final. It's a beautiful kick. Almost cleared the fence. 10-point ball game, deep into time on in the first quarter.
Yes, a very handy goal for East Perth. Certainly Scott Loving, a beautiful finisher of the football. That's why he's down in the goal square. There was the little tap there by Jeremy Barnard, as I mentioned in the build-up. That created the opportunity. Just a little 1%er there, and created the numbers. Could have easily let the ball get past him, Jeremy Barnard, but worked to flick the ball out in front of his teammate, and that created an extra man, and they were able to build up a loose man and eventually get the ball to Scott Loving, who made no mistake.
Well, that's going to be an important duel down there between Holmes and Loving. Centre bounce. Holmes has done very well, but Loving's kicked 2 goals. Fletcher out of the centre for Subiaco. Gets terrific distance. They'll need to do something quickly if they're going to score. Perry chops it off. That's Roger Perry. And gets a good hand pass wide of the pack. Good shepherd provided by Walland on Ridley as it comes to Walker. Dwyer was the player who got it to Walker. Walker back towards the half-forward line. Hampson and Wheatley caught under the ball. Parker comes up to meet it. Knocks it back into play. Let's see how that works out. Walker has it. Gets around McFarlane. He's in trouble. Hooks it to half-forward. Umpire's whistle's gone. High tackle on someone. Oh, no. It's a relayed kick. And it's going to Barnard. Loving is behind Holmes. He's got the sit here. And well done again by Holmes. Terrific effort. Reaching over the top. The kick just didn't quite have the carry it needed, but Holmes did very well.
Yeah, it's a very good contest by Todd Holmes. He was out of position, no doubt, and maybe as you called it, while the ball just needed a little bit more carry for Loving, but an excellent effort by Todd Holmes.
Subiaco under pressure in the dying stages of the first quarter. Purcell has kicked a beauty, and East Perth are really laying down the gauntlet to Subiaco now. 5-1 to 4-3. The margin is 4 points, and we've played 33 minutes in the first quarter of the first semi-final.
Well, an excellent snap-on goal by Purcell. There's Dan Parker knocking the ball out. It knocks it to where the numbers were for East Perth. And good goal sense by Kane Purcell, a very skillful player on his left side. The ball fell truly for that side of his body, but a very clever snap under pressure in the end, and that's a vital goal for East Perth, and they're certainly answering back very hard late in this quarter.
Very late, 33.5 minutes. Turnbull favoured by the bounce, wins it down. Wallery started on the bench. Hand passes away. Through they go again. Pendleton, if he can gathers in business, he does. Goes short. Colbung on the lead. Knocked away from behind by Carmody. There's the siren. A 34-minute opening quarter. And interestingly, both Subiaco and East Perth in the opening quarter scored more goals than West Perth did in 4 quarters in the second semi-final against East Fremantle. Kevin Worthington will be pretty happy with that scoreline. The Royals down by just 4 points. The breeze, if anything, is just picking up a little bit. So East Perth would be happy. Jeremy Barnard and Scott Loving, 2 focal points up forward. They're both carrying a fair bit of strapping on knees and elbows. But, Scott Loving, 2 goals in that quarter. The moon is out. And so too are both teams. They're here to play football.
I think there's due to be an eclipse of the moon tonight.
Is there? We'll keep an eye on that, Rob. What does that actually mean?
A little bit of lunar nonsense.
I don't even know what an eclipse of the moon is. Gooch and Fletcher 2 apiece. I take it disappears somehow. A very good quarter of football, and I think those that have stayed after the second semi-final have been rejuvenated somewhat. That was a landslide, a 53-point win to East Fremantle, who kept West Perth to the miserly total of 3 goals, 17. Tyson Stengline there, and Todd Holmes on the left, just stretching. He had a magnificent first quarter, although, as you mentioned, Wally, he did concede 2 goals to Scott Loving.
Yeah, it was an interesting situation, wasn't it? Because Holmes, in one-on-one contests, did very, very well. But Loving is a goal sneak. He's an opportunist, and on 2 occasions was able to get away, and he made the most of his limited opportunities, which is all his coach, Kevin Worthington, would ask of him.
You get the impression too, Gary, that these teams, as soon as they ran across the chalk, I mean, it's stating the obvious, but they knew that for one of them, the season was going to end in 4 quarters' time.
Well, that's the way that they've both come out and played. They played extremely hard, and it was a good quarter of football. I think rejuvenated the crowd, might have rejuvenated the commentary team a little bit too.
Well, we saw more energy from East Perth in that quarter than we've seen in the last month, and players like Scott Loving typified that. I mean, the last time we saw them, Scott Loving appeared to me to have a very limited appetite for the game, but he did well then.
In fact, it is interesting, Gary. It's almost, this is not being unkind to the 2 teams that are playing here in this first semi-final, but they've almost got in by default. East Perth have won of the last 6 home and away games. They won only 1, and that was by a margin of 3 points over Claremont in round 19. They finished the season spluttering into the 4. They lost their last 3 games on end. The last game was to Swans, and they lost that to a team that was out of contention. And Subiaco have won only 3 of their last 7. In fairness to them, they did have the bye in the last round, but really both of them have shown a tremendous appetite for the football tonight, which, as Wally said, for some of them, for some of those players over the past month and a half has really been a little bit absent.
Yes, well, there's no doubt about that. There's no, well, they don't fight another day after tonight if they go down. So they're playing as though their lives are on the line, and certainly it's great. And that sort of environment sometimes can really lift players out of the doldrums if they've been a little bit down on confident. As we look at the statistics there, and really not a lot in it. East Perth just in front as far as number of possessions, and that probably due to their good fight back in the second part of that quarter. But we saw Subiaco come out very early, jump the gun, first 3 goals on the board. They looked very good, but as the quarter progressed, one felt that East Perth was just starting to get on top of Subiaco. So we've got a good contest here, and I'm looking forward to the second quarter.
Well, there were a few players who had a bundle of the ball in the first term, Gary. Richardson had 6 kicks, 3 hand passes for a total of 9 disposals for Subiaco. And interestingly, he's being opposed by Colbung, who had 6 and 1 for 7. The others for Subiaco that did well were Holmes with 7 kicks and a hand pass, Godden 2 kicks, 5 hand passes, and Shawcross 3 kicks and 4 hand passes. And for East Perth, Wheatley 4 and 4 for 8, Turnbull 3 kicks, 5 hand passes for 8, Colbung, as I mentioned, 7 disposals, Purcell 4 and 2 for 6, and Marley 4 and 2 for 6. Free kicks, East Perth 11 to Subiaco's 6. Inside 50, East Perth 20 times, Subiaco 10, and centre breaks 3 each.
Well, it is cool conditions. You could almost throw a blanket over both teams. They're really huddled around their respective coaches.
They'd appreciate it, Glenn.
Yeah,
It's
very
interesting
cool
that
at ground level.
well, it's interesting that inside stat 10 times inside, and they've scored 5 goals. So every second time they've gone in, they've scored a goal. So Well, I suppose that could be ominous signs in itself, the fact that East Perth have gone 20 times in and scored 4 goals. But they have worked the ball certainly into the breeze. And, well, it may be a little bit different with East Perth kicking with the breeze this quarter. Certainly the challenge will be thrown down to Subiaco.
Well, Kevin Worthington is revving up the troops. And they'll be pretty happy, as we said, operating into that breeze in the first quarter. They trail by just 4 points. Subiaco 5-1-31, East Perth 4-3-27. The winner of this game will play West Perth in next week's preliminary final for the right to meet the Sharks, who have led the competition almost from day one in 1998. And East Fremantle already booking a place in the grand final. Phil Lamb has been keeping an ear out on both huddles at quarter time.
Yes, in fact, both ears, Glenn. And Kevin Worthington was very happy with the way the team regrouped after the first 15 minutes. He said, look, you got jumped, but you gathered yourselves very well. He said, I want you to stick to your game plan. He said, I'm confident in each and every one of you. We've picked the right side. We're not going to make any changes. I'll back you in to beat your immediate opponent. He said, in this quarter, now that you've got your momentum up, he said, I want you to go for broke and but stay within the rules, which doesn't sound much like were, though. But Peter Thorne, he was very positive as well. He said to his players, look, you can't win finals by playing in fits and starts. He said the first 15 minutes was very, very good. You lost your focus a little bit. Let's get back to doing the things that we said that we were going to do at the start of the game, which is to share the ball around, run in 3s and 4s and work the ball down through the corridor so that we get it down to Todd Ridley.
Phil Lamb on the boundary. Isn't it great how some coaches mellow as they head into retirement, Gary? Kevin Worthington,
well, I must
play
say,
within the rules.
Give him a bit of a compliment too. He has lost a lot of weight, Kevin.
He has from earlier in the season. Still wouldn't want to get in his way though.
No, but he's done a terrific job there. So Kevin, well done. He moving over the ground very nicely.
Better than Tony McHale, who was carrying a leg injury every time he came out to address his troops in the second semi. But he'd be all smiles. The pain to be gone from whatever the ailment was with Tony McHale. East Fremantle are already in the grand final.
He's got a week's rest, though, Glenn.
He has.
Yeah, he'll be able to get over that.
Yeah. He might let Steve Malaxos coach the team this week down at East Fremantle Oval. There's Dean Irving. It will be an absorbing duel throughout the night between he and Ryan Turnbull. Turnbull has played 104 games for the Eagles, 8 of them this season, and Irving himself played 66 games in the AFL with West Coast and Melbourne, so two very experienced big men.
Ryan Turnbull's attacked the ball in that first quarter quite hard, and he looks a far better player when he goes hard at the football.
Adam Binks to restart this second semi-final. The Lions down, or up I should say, by 4 points. Devon Perry, we see so often, he's at the bottom of the pack. He cops a buffeting, mind you, he gives out as good as he gets too. He's very rugged at the ball in the contest, Devon Perry. See, he's spent a fair bit of time over the years in the gym as well. Irving and Turnbull. Goes straight up in the air. Colbung in the end taps it down to Turnbull. It's the reverse to what you're used to seeing. Or Parker drops an elementary mark. He was in front of Barnard, and he's done enough in the end to apply pressure to force the bounce, but it's been a criticism of Daniel Parker at AFL level in his 20-odd games, and at times he can make some glaring errors, and that was one example.
Just nearly followed it up, and quite lucky maybe not to give the free kick away.
Turnbull and Irving have drifted down ground. Irving, the taller of the two, wins it down. Simpson comes through, but he is well wrapped up. And will have a bounce inside 50 for East Perth. Loving is back with his heels on the goal line in the goal square. Holmes still standing him. Turnbull uses his leap. This time he beats Irving. Hampson tracks it towards the boundary line in defence for Subiaco. Gets a good shepherd there from a teammate in Simpson, which gave him some time. Wheatley, gee, that was negative. Perhaps he thought players were right behind him. He had the opportunity of a mark, but opted just to fist it negatively over the line.
So the throw-in is at right half forward for East Perth. They trailed Subiaco by 4 points, but they did well kicking into the breeze in the first term. Colbung to Devon Perry. And we're going to have a bounce in the same area. It was a very entertaining first quarter. Subiaco looked good early, but East Perth stuck to their task and have put themselves right into this game. Turnbull, who's doing very well. Irving this time with front position, gets the ball down. Pendleton was taken high. Free kick to Steve Pendleton. He's almost back to the wing. Kicks to the 50-metre line. Barnard trying to use his body. Parker gave a good contest. Miller gets the ball out. It's chopped off by Stenglein, who goes to the boundary, and there'll be a throw-in 40 metres out from the East Perth goal. Now, this is going to be a real test of the Subiaco defence. They did a good job in the first half of the first quarter, but then a crack started to appear. Turnbull with front position. Taken by Shawcross, who in turn was taken high. And he will get the free kick. Now he's in trouble here. He was going to go to the outer side, but the lead was covered. High kick back towards centre half forward for East Perth, and Wheatley almost uncontested. Subiaco having to absorb some pressure here. Wheatley kicks to a space. Irving took his eye off the ball, gives Barnard a chance. Turnbull. He could have done better than that. That's out of play on the full. Loving trying to con the umpire. Holmes was a little bit nonchalant about that. He gave up the chase. But fortunately the ball had gone out of play. That was the earlier incident where Irving missed what he should have taken. Irving in front, Turnbull over the top. Throw in 55 metres out from East Perth's goal.
Good discipline there. Yeah, punching from behind. The temptation is to try and get the sit and go for the mark. So some good little signs for East Perth. They are doing the little discipline things, and those punches from behind are very important.
Irving wins it down. Purcell couldn't gather. Neither can Shawcross. May have been held. The umpire's seen it that way.
Should 50 metres.
Should be 50 metres, gee.
Jared Shawcross, the free kick on the defensive 50 for the Lions. He runs to the outer side. He's got a player all on his own out there, O'Connor. In fact, not O'Connor. Takes the mark and plays on. It was Headland who kicks towards half forward. Subiaco now mounting a challenge after their defence has been under siege in the early stages. McFarlane kicks inside 50. Ridley the target. Knocked away from behind by Roger Perry. Tracked towards the boundary by Devon Perry. Ridley goes to ground and will have a throw in. Todd Ridley's had an interesting season. A lot of the times he's had massive tallies in the first halves of games and has been almost absent after half time. I think he kicked 8.5 against Peel and didn't add after half time, and kicked 4 against, might have been Swans in an opening quarter, and I think he only finished with 4. Carmody, a hand pass away to O'Connor. The vice-captain towards the top of the goal square. There is Ridley, and he should kick his second, and this should be from probably right on the goal line.
No, free kick.
No, it is a free kick going the other way in the marking contest. Here it is here. Push forward. Gee, and then Narkle, well, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Roger Perry plays on to the outer side. Gavin Rose, the ruckman, has it. Resting ruckman at the moment. Goes short and Narkle marks on the outer wing. Hits the ground running. Kicks diagonally in towards centre half forward. Jeremy Barnard makes a contest, brings it to ground. Godden claimed in the standing tackle by Kent Butcher. And we'll have a bounce of the football.
Just interesting there, off the ball. James Walker just did a terrific job in keeping Sam McFarlane out of the contest to allow Narkle to take a mark. And just the little unheralded things that East Perth are doing is a very good sign to see players looking to do the little team things to help a teammate out.
Subiaco lead by 4 points as they did at quarter time. We've played just over 5 minutes in this second term. Short kick. O'Connor can't take the mark. Picked up by Marley. Here come East Perth again. In towards full forward. 2 East Perth players colliding. Simpson off the ground. And the ball will run out of play just outside the 50-metre line. Once again, Subiaco defence being asked the question. The throw-in will come into the 50-metre zone. Irving to the side of the pack. Stenglein hurriedly. Butcher first back to it. He's in trouble. Wheatley, they're back on centre wing now. And the kick was into Stenglein. That gives Subiaco the opportunity. O'Connor was in all sorts of trouble. Purcell hooks it to 50 metres. All players waited for the bounce. Colbone down there with Carmody. It's tapped to Miller. He's holding the ball. Play allowed to go on. Colbone has it. His hand pass was smothered. Godden charges through the pack. Opportunity for McFarlane to tidy up. He allows Hardingham to take possession. Hooks back towards centre wing. Subiaco really absorbing some pressure. The ball knocked away from Gooch by Rose. East Perth hunting in numbers. Devon Perry has it. Draws the player. Marley across the top. Wheatley on the 50-metre line. Looking at his options. Stabs towards Loving. Holmes from behind. Could have marked it. Didn't. In comes Parker, lends a bit of physical presence and gets rid of Loving. And the kick is a beauty to Headland. Headland standing behind Pendleton, takes a good mark. Crowd don't like that, but it was a clean mark. And Subiaco respond again. The kick down towards half forward, that's a good kick. Just too wide for Botsis. Narkle has it. He's claimed the ball spilling free, as you can see on the side of the pack. And the umpire comes in and will bounce it at left half forward for Subi.
So 8 minutes of this quarter, and neither team has scored. It's been the battle of the defences. They've both stood up. East Perth have had more of the ball in their attacking zone as Rose knocks it over the boundary line.
Roll it back
on. Sorry,
Butcher's gone off injured, Glenn. Oh, he's not very well. He's vomiting quite violently on the side of the ground.
Ball thrown in front. Gooch, clean possession. Headland knocks it on. Oh, bad bounce there for Hampson, who ran at it. In the end, Purcell grubbers a kick to the wing. Turnbull is there, beats the long arm of the law in Irving. One bounce, almost lost it. Now he can take a second, a third. He's a long kick, Turnbull. Unloads from 50 metres. It goes left, stays left just. And that is the first score of the quarter, 8 3/4 minutes in.
It's been a great contest so far this quarter. While we've had no scoring, the physical pressure all over the field, the defences have held up very well, and well, it's just a plain hard contest at the moment.
Well, the second semi-final was low scoring, but it wasn't as entertaining as this. Oh, the short kick in, Carmody missed what he should have taken, recovers, chips the ball to the half-back line, where the mark is taken by Hampson. Hampson in the right full-back pocket. And Tonowic's waiting to come onto the ground. I'm not sure who he's going to replace. Kick wasn't a good one, but Wallen missed the mark. That's given Subiaco a chance. Now they're penalised for holding the ball, and the ball will have to come back. It's going to be Wallen who will take the free kick. He's between left centre wing and left half forward. Kicks towards the 50-metre line. It doesn't get that far, and Parker goes up and takes a good mark. He's done okay, Daniel Parker. He's made a couple of mistakes, but he's certainly put himself in the game tonight. Headland has it. That's not a particularly good kick. In fact, it's a shocking kick. Subiaco concede possession as Antonowicz finally gets onto the ground, and he's replaced Simeon Botsis. Wheatley being told to come back and kick over the mark. He's between the interchange gates at the moment, Rod Wheatley. Goes straight across the ground to Pendleton. Pendleton kicks long, inside 50. Almost a mark to Barnard. Got rid of Antonowicz a little too easily. Godden off the ground. They need more from Tony Godden at the moment. Devon Perry. Perry back towards Barnard. He's unattended at the back of the pack. Then he can play on if he wants to, but chooses to go back and have a shot for goal. So the Subiaco defence caught out on the rebound. Simpson is standing the mark. It's not his man. In fact, it's Daniel Parker's man who has the ball. He's in the left full forward pocket. He will kick from about 30 metres out. It's a reasonably acute angle, but there's plenty of goal to shoot at. And this kick could give East Perth the lead. They trail by 3 points. It's 5-1 to 4-4. Barnard with the kick to put the Royals in front in the first semi-final. 11 minutes gone in the second term. He's missed. Bad miss. Not a lot of opportunities so far in this term, and both teams need to make the most of them.
As Jeremy Barnard just probably needed to take a few more steps in that build-up. Really didn't get himself balanced, was still on the walk when he actually kicked the ball, and really should get a bit more momentum up in his approach on goal.
Trent Simpson splits the middle of Subiaco oval. Antonowicz just on is the target. Turnbull almost a one-hander. Antonowicz knocks it down. Barnard soccers it towards the attacking 50 for East Perth. Socket off the ground by Dwyer. Daniel Parker gathers inside Subi's defensive 50. Goes square across the goal mouth. Good mark taken by Stenglein. Held up by Waller. Tyson Stenglein on the defensive 50 for Subi. Goes looking for Antonowicz. Long arms. Takes the mark. Fully stretched. Left foot. Looking for Gooch. Arrives, can't take the mark. It was knocked away from him by Wheatley. That's Fletcher. A hand pass back to Gooch. Goes very casually. Looking here for Hardingham. He can hand pass downfield to Shawcross. 55 metres out and closing. Hand pass to Godden. 40 metres out and closing. Keeps it low. And in the end, off hands are behind. Should have just unloaded Tony Godden and tried to kick it up onto the terraces.
Bad misses at both ends, Glenn.
Subiaco, their first score of this quarter, which is now 13 minutes old.
Roger Perry kicks in short. Too easy. Wallen goes wide. Players unattended on the outer side of the ground. Dwyer has it. He's at left half back. Shepherd from Rose kicks a shocker. Stenglein chops it off. This is Carmody from just behind the wing, and he's kicked it out of play on the full. Well, the game has just dropped off a little bit in terms of the standard in the last couple of minutes. Dwyer with the free kick. Subi leading by 3 points. Dwyer towards half forward. Barnard and Parker standing in front. Stenglein again. Hand pass to McFarlane. Across the face of the ground. This is dangerous. Oh, that's a good mark by Headland. Gee, he appeared to be out of position, but he just charged at the ball, and he's found Antonowicz with the short pass. He too's behind the centre line. Plays on with a hand pass to O'Connor. O'Connor from near the centre circle kicks to half forward. It was a shocking kick. Gooch recovers it, however. Gets it to Davies. Davies in towards full forward. Irving almost the mark. Good recovery. Hand pass to Ridley. He's got the pace and should kick the goal. He's done it. That gives Subiaco a little bit of breathing space. 6-2 to 4-5, and Ridley has 2 of the 6.
Well, a good build-up then again by Subiaco. They were able to work the ball forward, and well, it was the big man Davies kicks the ball to Dean Irving, who attacks the ball pretty well. His recovery there was good. Attacked the ball nice and hard and got it onto Ridley, who'd running onto the contest, and very good kick on the left foot by Todd Ridley to get Subiaco's 6th goal on the scoreboard.
Centre bounce. Turnbull wins it down. Devon Perry. Turnbull must have copped something in the eye then. Now Devon Perry runs onto the ball, kicks with the left foot. Jeremy Barnard was caught behind Daniel Parker, couldn't take the mark. Gathered by Wheatley. Hand pass to Devon Perry. Back to Wheatley. Sweeps a hand pass infield to Walker. Walker, 55 metres out, well tackled. Off to Devon Perry, who's run down ground. Kicks to full forward. Loving charged the pack. Couldn't get a hand on it in the end. Holmes, his marksman, does well. Does very well. Tumbles a bouncing punt to the members' side. That's been an absorbing contest. Todd Holmes and Scott Loving. Loving's kicked 2 goals, but some of Holmes' work in the last line of defence has been breathtaking. The way he's backed himself. Turnbull tried to win it back towards the attacking 50. Devon Perry could have been almost penalised for that one. Pack develops and will have a bounce. 38 playing 29. Subi up by a goal and a half.
Well, it's been an entertaining game so far. First semi-final, 16 minutes played, almost 16 minutes played. In the second quarter, comes down to Godden, hurriedly up towards centre wing. Wallen missed it. Fletcher a chance. Mopping up at the back was Headland, just got his kick in the nick of time. Gets it inside 50, Ridley in front, knocked away by Roger Perry. Wallen got a bad bounce. Narkle has it back to Walland. Walland over the centre line. Devon Perry is there. Getting there late was Hardingham. Perry did well, gets it to Marley. Marley's kick's not a good one. He puts it out in front of Barnard. Barnard with a hand pass goes right back to Sarah. Sarah's inside the centre square. He's got to get around Stenglein. High towards full forward. Holmes from behind Loving. Holmes knocks it towards the boundary line. He'll be happy to see it go out. In fact, he ushers it over the line. Some interesting duels here. Most of them in the East Perth forward line. Parker and Barnard is interesting. Holmes and Loving is a good one. Colbung, and I'm not sure who's on him at the moment. It might be Carmody now. It was Richardson. Here's Wheatley trying to go through the pack. Kick smothered, but he was taken high. Yes, the umpire has blown the whistle. East Perth want an advantage rule, but they won't get it. So Rod Wheatley will have to take the shot on goal. You can see the arm across the shoulder. Hampson, who's playing on Wheatley, was the player who infringed. And so Wheatley will shoot for goal from almost exactly the same position as we saw someone miss from earlier. Who was that?
Barnard.
Barnard, that's right. 30 metres out. The angle a little more acute than 45 degrees. And he's missed to the other side. Barnard missed to the left. Wheatley's missed to the right. So East Perth are wasting some opportunities here. They trail by 8 points. They've had the breeze for 17.5 minutes, and as yet haven't kicked a goal. They did terrifically well in the first term to kick 4 into it, but now finding it hard, and that's a bad kick in. Gives East Perth the chance. Miller, he's just outside 50, back towards full forward, but here's Holmes again.
Todd Holmes in front of Scott Loving. West Coast Eagles members of the support crew, the rest of them will be in the eastern states, but they'd be happy with what they've seen. He's gone on to Carmody, who kicks to the centre of the ground. The target there, and was unable to find him. Oh. Now, free kick, is it? No. The ball will be bounced. Just towards the outer wing. Both teams showing a degree of endeavour, but not getting a result on the scoreboard, in particular East Perth. One down by Turnbull. An ugly pack, and we'll have another bounce. Not quite nail-biting, but perhaps he'll grow into it. Turnbull and Antonowitz. Antonowitz won it down just as Hampson kicks it. The umpire has said he wants to bounce it. Shawcross was about to stream onto the loose ball at half forward for Subiaco. It has to come back for a bounce just forward of left centre wing for East Perth. One down by Turnbull. Godden, he gets claimed. Going through Marley, can't get a clean kick away. O'Connor rides a bump and hand passes over the centre line. Opportunity for the Lions. Headland received a hand pass from Fletcher and in turn gives it to McFarlane after a bounce from 48 metres. That is a very good kick. Oh, Roger Perry's got hands on it. In the end, he was almost bumped into the path of the ball by Todd Ridley, and it's gone through for a behind.
7,287 people in aggregate for the first and second semi-final doubleheader. And those that stayed are seeing a very good contest. The second semi-final having been played first. Kick in, Antonowicz from behind Turnbull, but Turnbull did well. He knocked it to the back of the pack, and Pendleton then gets away from Headland, kicks towards centre wing, and Loving, a long way up from his full forward area, takes the mark, calling his forwards towards him, ran into Antonowicz, gets it to Devon Perry. East Perth cool as they try and mount an attack. Barnard out in front, brilliantly on the half volley, goes back on an open goal. Carmody, can he get to it? I don't think he did. He did. So, good saves at both ends of the ground. Roger Perry in the Subiaco goal square, and now Carmody in the East Perth goal square. Simpson preparing to bring the ball back into play. 6-3 to 4-7, 8 points is the margin. Almost 21 minutes played in the second term. It's been a good contest so far. Kick was intended for Fletcher. It's pretty willing. It'll be a bounce at right half forward for East Perth. One of the best first semi-finals of all time was played between these two clubs back in 1958. At three-quarter time in that first semi-final, East Perth led by 39 points. And then with a minute to play, Subiaco hit the front to lead by 3 points. And a goal in the last 20 seconds of the game by Vic Evans of East Perth won the semi-final for East Perth.
We'll take his word for it, Gary. We're not old enough to have seen that one.
Can't remember that one.
But it was a great final. It happened to be a first semi-final, as this one is, and it happened to be between these two teams. Devon Perry on the 50-metre line, under pressure from Godden, kicks in towards centre-half forward, and that is a terrific mark. Who is it, Richardson, is it?
Yeah.
Terrific mark taken by Richardson under immense pressure. Like a pair of midget wrestlers, Richardson and Miller, as the clearing kick goes to the outer side of the ground. O'Connor, cornered by Marley. He's got support and back up from Shawcross. Across it comes to Richardson on the defensive 50-metre line. He was about to go, thought better of it. Hampson under pressure, kicks hurriedly. That makes life tough. It wasn't Hampson because he's up here now. A hand pass, not a good one. Subiaco with time though. Stenglein under pressure, comes back to Davies. Davies pops it across the top. Back it goes to Davies from Carmody. Davies inside 50. What was he trying to do? Was he kicking at goal or was he trying to find Gooch? Ridley collides with the post. He acknowledges the Bronx cheer from the East Perth crowd.
I think he was in two minds. I think certainly the option was Gooch short.
Well, East Perth have gone short from Roger Perry. Jeff Narkle comes around the members' wing. Sarah the target, takes the chest mark. Just backward of right half back. Chips it short, needs to arrive in time. Antonowitz couldn't close to spoil Warland. He now kicks to the logo on the members' wing. Good contest there by Gooch to be able to spoil Turnbull. Devon Perry got it, hand pass to Dwyer. His kick was touched off the boot by O'Connor. Little Miller was barreled into by his teammate there in Loving. In the end, Holmes slung around as he gets a hand pass away. Jeremy Barnard, good vision. Threads a hand pass to Dwyer. The bounce is crucial. It's bounced the wrong way for East Perth. And through for yet another behind. That makes it 5 straight for the Royals. 5 behinds in 24 minutes of football in this second quarter.
It's been a good quarter so far for Subiaco, as the first was for East Perth. The team's working into the breeze, realising they have to put that extra effort in, and at this point they're being rewarded. Simpson from full back. It's a good kick. Antonowicz made a good lead. He's inside the defensive 50-metre line. He's got a big task, young Antonowicz, playing on Turnbull. Goes for distance, just trying to take the pressure off for a moment. Target out there was Gooch. Devon Perry, well tackled. It wasn't, it was Narkle. This is Devon Perry. The ponytails confuse me. The hand pass infield. Walker back to Devon Perry. Now he claims it. Kicks inside 50 metres. Interesting duel. Miller did best. Pulled off the ball. Play allowed to go on. Barnard misses. Gee, they've had a few chances, East Perth, but they're under pressure. Now, what's the umpire saying here?
I think Miller was a bit unlucky not to be paid a free kick there by the looks of it.
Yes. The umpire indicating that the score will stand as Simpson spears the pass in and finds McFarlane. McFarlane across the face of the ground and finds Holmes. Subiaco just probing at the moment, looking for a gap in the East Perth forward line, try and get it out of the danger area. That could be 50 metres. Was socked away by Antonowicz. He's a little bit lucky. It's a mark to Miller, but the ball, while lying on the ground, was socked away by the Subiaco player. No further penalty. Miller from about 70 metres out.
Kick.
Loving with best position, spoiled by Holmes. Gee, that was just in time. Here's Godden. That's a good hand pass too to Shawcross. Dwyer off in pursuit. He gets away from him. Shawcross towards full forward. That's a good kick. Gooch not quite able to take the mark. Uses his body well and kicks a great goal. Through to Scott Gooch. He did very well then. Showed a fair degree of pace for a big fellow. A good measure of expertise, of skill, and good body work.
Well, it was Todd Holmes' punch away at the last minute, because I thought that kick was going to find Scott Loving. It was a beautiful kick by Peter Miller, read it beautifully and put it in the right spot, but Loving just not able to get it. Todd Holmes spoiled, and that was the rebound through Tony Godden, able to build up the loose man to Shawcross. A good kick by Shawcross to the advantage of Gooch, and Gooch did well in the end to score the goal.
Master and pupil, Antonowicz and Turnbull. Turnbull won it down in the middle. Devon Perry to Wheatley. Quick kick forward by Wheatley towards the attacking 50. Colbung is taken to ground. Carmody in the end, Stenglein for Subiaco. Gets a quick kick laterally. Wheatley on it. Has a little bit of time and space to create. Kicks towards the lead of Barnard. Leaning over the top, Dan Parker. Barnard, great recovery. Hand pass to Miller. They've finally got a second quarter goal. After 6 consecutive behinds, East Perth have goaled at the 27-minute mark. And a very important one, since they do have the breeze in this quarter. They haven't really done enough with it, but they have got the margin back to 7 points.
Scott Loving coming off the ground, Kent Butcher to come back on, but they've moved Barnard into the goal square. And a very good contest by Barnard. Didn't allow Parker to get in front position. He kept the ball in front and gave out a very good handball to Peter Miller, who had good goal sense and good reactions to quickly get it onto the boot. And, well, a vital goal for East Perth before half-time.
The margin back to 7 points. Turnbull set to oppose Antonowicz. Another goal for East Perth would be very handy, but there's a centre square infringement and Subiaco benefit. The kick is a long one. Ridley has the sit. Misses what he should have taken. Really did have a big chance there over Butcher. Butcher hooks it down to Pendleton. Pendleton's kick didn't get to Sara. Not a good effort. Sara's got time. He's cornered now. Headland is the player. Back inside 50. Parker at the back, reaching to take the mark. Chance at the front of the pack for Waller. Hand pass smothered once, then twice. Good pressure from Subiaco. Sara pulled off the ball after he got rid of it, and Wheatley is dumped over the line most unceremoniously by Damien Hampson. Throw in is at right half forward for East Perth. Bang. Antonowicz and Turnbull. Turnbull clean possession. There's danger there for Subiaco with Irving resting. Oh, terrific mark by Marley. Going back with the flight of the ball. He goes quickly to Sara, who's got away from Holmes. There's been a switch down there now with Loving being taken off the ground, and Holmes just caught out momentarily. And the result is that Sara has the opportunity to reduce the margin to less than a goal. Here it is again. Marley coming in from the left. Good mark. Sara having boot problem.
It's a good move, I think, by Kevin Worthing. Todd Holmes was controlling things. Although Loving had 2 goals on the scoreboard, Todd Holmes was repelling a number of attacks. And Barnard's now gone to full forward, and Sara, more of a mobile player, is going to take Holmes up the field a bit more, get him away from that goal square where he's been very good tonight. And on that occasion, Sara was just able with his run to get away from Holmes on that occasion, and a good kick found Sara. So while they try and get this boot, obviously the knots...
nimble fingers required here, Gary.
The knots done a bit too tight and they can't get it out. So
Joe Sara.
Watch that heel go in. Can he get it in?
Well, Joe Sara is going to kick from about 40 metres out, 45-degree angle. East Perth have missed 2 goals from a similar position to this in this term. Opportunities by Wheatley and Barnard from about 30 metres out, similar angle. They both missed. If Sara kicks this, the margin will be just 1 point. 30 minutes have gone, so there's not much time left in this second quarter, and Sara has done what others weren't able to do. And East Perth are within a goal. It's 7-4 to 6-9.
Yes, well, very good play by East Perth to get a couple of goals late in time on, certainly in the second quarter, just to get a bit of steam up before they go in for that half-time break. It's very, very important, and Sara did work extremely hard in that passage of play to keep the ball in the forward line, then to work and run hard to find the space to provide the lead, and then finished off with a very good goal.
And there was no more action in the opening half, just as the ball was thumped into the disc in the middle of Subiaco Oval. The siren sounds. So a very entertaining first half in this sudden death West Star Rules first semi-final. Subiaco led by 4 points at quarter time. They led by, or they lead, I should say, by just 1 now at half time. East Perth kicked 6 consecutive behinds in that quarter before they got their first goals, and 2 of them came in a hurry. Peter Miller and Joe Sara just before the half-time siren. Scott Gooch with 3. Todd Ridley and Chad Fletcher are leading the way. In fact, they are the only 3 goal scorers for Subiaco to half-time. Scott Loving, the only multiple for East Perth. Subiaco by 1 point at half-time in the first semi-final of 1998. You're a sensation. What a champ. What a champ.
And that's the kind of football that I like. That's the kind of football that I like. That's the kind.
So one of these teams just 2 quarters away from ending their 1998 season, and Wally, an astounding statistic, inside 50 in the opening half.
Yes, East Perth have had it in there 44 times to Subiaco's 18. And the score, Subiaco 7-4-46 to East Perth 6-9-45, just to point the difference. Todd Holmes with 13 disposals in the first half. Richardson with 11. Carmody, O'Connor and Goddenor with 11 for Subiaco. Wheatley 12 and 6 for 18. Perry 7 and 8 for 15. That's Devon Perry. Turnbull 13 and Barnard 11 for East Perth.
Umpire Simon Gill about to get the second half of this cutthroat first semi-final underway at Subiaco Oval. Irving and Turnbull, as it was at the start of the game. Turnbull palmed it down to Colbung. Tackled. The ball squeezes out towards McFarlane. That wasn't 10. Was gathered by Davies. Hand passes off then towards Headland. He goes wide towards Fletcher. Kicked 2 goals in the opening half. He goes looking for Ridley at the back knuckle. Will probably go for the boundary line. He did it well. He disguised it well. He always knew he was going to take his kick just the wrong side of the chalk. And the ball to be thrown in. Slight easterly breeze still blowing in the direction that Subiaco are kicking in this third quarter. But you can certainly kick goals into it. You can see there it fluctuates every now and then. The windsock does flutter quite genuinely, but at the moment there's not much air about. Gooch and Rose from the back knocks it back from whence it came. The winner to advance to next week's preliminary final, where they'll play West Perth for the right of meeting East Fremantle in a fortnight's time here in the grand final. Rose and Gooch again. Rose has the better. Richardson, though, a quick kick forward opportunity for Godden, run down from behind. May have been held but not in possession under the Marley tackle. Devon Perry, well done. Hugs the boundary line. Got Fletcher airborne, and just as he went to go around him, you can see the frustration. The ball eluded his grasp.
Well, he did very well then, Devon Perry, in a tight situation and just lost control at a crucial moment. Gooch up high. Rose from the side does best. Dwyer knocked it on towards Warland, but they lost control of it, East Perth, and the ball is forced out of play. Boundary throw in, left full forward for Subiaco. They lead by a point. Gooch up in front, gets it down well to Carmody. Fletcher, tight angle, great kick. Chad Fletcher gets his third. They've only had 3 goal scorers, Subiaco. Gooch has 3, Fletcher has 3, and Ridley has 2.
Well, he's a very good, skillful player. There's no doubt about that. Chad Fletcher, just able to run onto that ball nicely. Tight angle, and was just able to slot it through, much to the delight of Todd Ridley in the goal square. So that's a very good start to Subiaco. Get that first one on the board, just to creep out their lead to 7 points. And East Perth will just want to make sure that they don't allow too many more of them.
Here's an opportunity for Walker from the centre bounce, but he's swapped. Hampson, or McFarlane I should say, with the ball at the back of the pack. Fletcher is breaking, takes the chest mark. Tacking point of the centre square at left half forward for the Lions. Casually over the top to McFarlane, the man who delivered it to him. Speaking of casual, McFarlane dropped it. Has a chance though from 55 metres. Up goes Gooch through his fingertips. And a behind to the Lions.
Getting the ball out of the centre too easily, Subiaco at the moment. They're just controlling that centre bounce down area at the start of this quarter.
They'll be a bit disappointed there, Scott Gooch. It was almost an uncontested mark, and Parker was clearly held by the arm. But Pendleton has the ball at centre wing. Good tackle applied by Carmody. Picked up by Turnbull, who gets it to Colbung. He's cornered. Back to Turnbull. Turnbull from left centre wing. Chance here for Sarah. Under the ball. Holmes over the top. Thumps it down, and it's taken away by the half-back line. Across towards the members' flank, kept in play by McFarlane. I think it was Stengline who kicked the ball out there as he hooks back towards the point of the square. That's dangerous for Subiaco. East Perth a chance here now. The ball spills to Carmody. Stengline backward of the play. McFarlane standing, kicks towards centre wing. Fletcher up in front, takes a strong mark and gets rid of it quickly to Shawcross. Shawcross draws the player, puts the hand pass out in front of Botsis. That was good football. Runs his full measure, kicks towards the goal square, and Gooch has taken the mark. Bill Parker, I'm sorry, has taken the mark. Daniel Parker, who has just been moved down into the full forward area. He ran from the back line about 2 minutes ago, was involved in that initial marking contest that I spoke about. A player had hold of his arm. Now he's got the mark, 15 metres out from goal. This would be Subiaco's second goal in the first 5 minutes of the third quarter. Would give them a reasonably handy break. Oh, gee. He may have just sneaked it through, I think. He has. Subiaco moved to 9-5. East Perth is 6-9. And the margin is 14 points.
Just a handy little break now on the scoreboard for Subiaco. Chad Fletcher, very good in that contest. But watch the handball here of Jared Shawcross, right out in front of the player, allowing Botsis to run onto the ball. The kick was a terrible one, which floated forward, but Dan Parker just was able to judge the ball better and finish off very nicely.
So Subiaco starting the second half the way they started the first. Centre bounce. Turnbull had Irving running at him. Colbunk squeezes it out. This is Devon Perry. Perhaps one of the first times inside 50 in the opening stage of the third quarter. Barnard almost took the mark. He's got a free kick though. The umpire signalling he was being held, and Jeremy Barnard steaming out there. Yep, you can see, good decision. The left hand had a fistful of Guernsey.
Sorry, Glenn, what Subiaco have done to allow Parker to go full forward is bring Burton on, and he's the player that's now playing on Barnard.
Barnard's gone back a long way from the man on the mark, mind you. Burton's gone back a fair way. Who'll run it? Jeremy Barnard, in he comes. They converge. Barnard, that's good for height. It might not quite have the carry. Over the back, opportunity for Wayne Otway, snap the goal. East Perth's first score of the third quarter.
He's a clever player, Wayne Otway Jr. Hadn't seen much of the action today. And he's very clever around the goals. And, well, there's a big pack of players. Watch it in the goal square here. All up. And Wayne Otway, there he is at the front of the pack. The right place to be. The ball eventually comes out to him. Looks like it was handed to him, actually. And he was in, well, good goal sense to quickly get the ball onto his boot. But he gets a reward for putting himself in the right spot at the front of the pack and eventually ended up with the footy. So that's a vital goal for East Perth.
35 for the season for Wayne Otway as Miller is taken high again. So often, plays on quickly. Simpson was in front, chose not to go to get into the contest. Knocked away by Simpson, back into the centre square. Devon Perry, he was claimed once and then twice. And Subiaco bring the ball off the half-back line through Headland. That's a prodigious kick down towards the centre, the 50-metre line. And Fletcher takes the mark and should kick his fourth. He's a good little player, this fellow. Chad Fletcher with 4, the outstanding goal scorer in the game. Subiaco 10-5, East Perth 7-9.
There's a clearing kick by young Headland there, a towering torpedo, and well, just the better judgment, Chad Fletcher, and was able to just run away from the pack with his great skills. Get his 4th goal. It's been a good return for Chad Fletcher, and I think a very promising player of the future. Most of the West Coast Eagles think so. He's a rookie list player. Wouldn't surprise me to see him on the list proper next year.
He's got good finishing skills, hasn't he?
Irving and Turnbull. Turnbull wins it down, but Subiaco a chance here through Hampson. Gathers, in fact, McFarlane, gee, got away from Walker too easily. One bounce near the centre circle when he spears it low. Godden infringed. The umpire closest to the action saying a push in the back against Warland. We'll see it here. Gee, it was almost in the side, really. He's played on. That's a good mark to Fletcher again. He's got some strength, this young fella. Kane Purcell not happy with the fact that he did mark it. And Fletcher, once he dusts off the cobwebs, an opportunity to kick his 5th and his 3rd in the space of about 6 minutes.
Tony Godden just telling him the best thing he can do here to make Kane Purcell know about it all is to kick the goal.
Well, he's kicked goals at the 3 and 8 minute mark. We've now played 9 1/4 in this third term, and this for his 5th. His first 2 goals both came in the opening 16 minutes of the game. Fletcher from 40 metres, slight angle, and he's missed it.
Could have been a vital kick, that one, Chad Fletcher. He's done a very good job, but really should have put that one through just to stretch that margin out, which would have made it hard for East Perth.
15 points the margin now. Perry into the back pocket. Pendleton, he's in trouble. Gee, they only need to put a hand on him. He was going to be penalised. Narkle in front, Gooch over the top. Narkle not paid the mark. Play on was the call. Gooch gave a good contest in there. Players going in pretty willingly. And there is going to be a bounce between left centre wing and left half forward for Subiaco. East Perth hanging on tenaciously here. It's 10-6 to 7-9. Subiaco with the first 2 goals. In fact, the first 3 goals of the third quarter. East Perth with 1. Miller around the outer boundary line. Takes the pressure off for East Perth. Colbung almost kept it in.
It's important, Waller, that East Perth do hang in there and they just don't allow Subiaco to skip away, because really right at this particular point in time, game in the balance, and both sides probably realise that. Subiaco looking quite good at the moment.
Subiaco led by 4 points at quarter time, 1 point at half time. The margin is out to 15 points now as McFarlane thwarts another forward thrust by East Perth and kicks to the centre of the ground. Headland misses what he should have taken. Otway a chance. He's outnumbered. Did just enough. Gets it to Dwyer. Closing on him was Burton. The kick back towards full forward. Subiaco standing firm back there. Hampson is unattended. He's the player on Otway at the moment. As McFarlane, who's been pretty industrious tonight, kicks it across the centre square. Turnbull in front. Collided heavily with Fletcher. Wheatley gets the run of the ball. The kick inside 50 metres. It's all East Perth. Burton got there in the nick of time. Gave a good contest against Barnard. And then Simpson's content to go back and concede the point from about 25 metres out. Probably a good decision because they were off balance back there, Subiaco, both individually and as a team or as a defensive unit.
Trent Simpson.
Sean Colbung will have to come back on the mark, won't he?
Yeah, right. He's only 2 metres from the edge of the goal square.
Doesn't matter how small you are, you've still got to come back.
Goes short. Richardson takes the mark. He goes wide. Headland the target. He leads Pendleton to the ball and takes the mark. Subiaco love to get the next goal in the game to really put pressure on. Davies, quick kick to half forward. Gooch had it closed out there by Narkle, who fisted it over the line. 14 points in favour of Subiaco at the moment. 12 and a half minutes into this third quarter. Narkle looked like he was taken high as he disposed into the middle. The mark taken by Loving. In fact, it's not Loving that's taken the mark. It was Pendleton. The hand pass was intended for Turnbull initially, going by Ridley, who's a long way from home. Kicks towards half forward. Botsis was spoiled from behind by Marley and will have a boundary throw in.
Spoiled by Marley there, but gee, a critical turnover by Roger Perry, just taking his eye off the ball and giving the ball back to Ridley.
There's the fist from Marley. Boundary throw in. Turnbull wins it down. Dwyer can release the run of Purcell. He goes short and wide. Sara the target. Gathers on the bounce near the boundary line. Did he keep it in? He didn't. Throw in on the members' wing.
(10-6 to 7-10). 14 points the margin. Subiaco just in front. Turnbull and Irving. Knocked on by Godden. Now Richardson. Under pressure from Perry. That was a good chase by Devon Perry. And Subiaco advanced by about 25 metres instead of 45 or 50 metres as they may have. Gooch coming in to do the ruck work, allowing Irving to drop back behind play. Turnbull back there with him. Was well palmed down by Gooch, but it missed the target. Ridley, who's now playing a long way up the ground. hooks the ball back towards half forward. It's all East Perth there, except for the fact that the man in the middle was Gooch. He marched between Perry and Narkle. Subiaco looking good. That's a shocking kick. Opportunity here for Shawcross. Went without it. Botsis on the bottom of the pack. And there'll be a bounce 52 metres out from Subiaco's goal. Well, this is an important moment in the game, I suspect, an important time in the game. There's Botsis. Subiaco have established this small break of 14 points. If they could extend that to perhaps 4 goals, then it might be very difficult for East Perth to get back. If East Perth can narrow it, they'll come home with the breeze in the last quarter. Wheatley, Fletcher gets it down to Gooch. Boy, did they jump on him. Short kick is a bad one. Fletcher missed the target, McFarlane, and it'll be a free kick to Roger Perry at the left half back for East Perth. All the leads covered at the moment.
Using a lot of energy at the moment, East Perth, just holding out at the moment, so that could tell.
Perry back towards centre wing. Turnbull is in front. Irving comes over the top. Now, Irving had a long rest in the second quarter when young Antonowicz came onto the game. Ridley's unattended at half forward. He's gone beyond that. Gooch was the target, and Gooch has taken a very good mark, but the umpire hasn't paid it. The umpire's indicating it was touched. I'm not sure where.
I think both players maybe have been in the contest.
I didn't see the replay. I was busy watching the umpire. Gooch and Perry, neither got a hand on it. Knock back infield gives Godden a chance. Perry has it. They're under pressure here, East Perth. Get it close to the line and eventually out. So the throw-in is between right centre wing and right half forward for Subiaco.
The Lions have had this breeze, what there is of it. It's not much at the moment for 16 minutes. Irving won it down, but Walker onto it. Gee, could have streamed away with a couple of bounces, but opts to kick to Sarah at centre half forward. Holmes goes up, knocks it down, overrunning the ball, Simpson. Colbung there, great hand pass to Walker, spills, regathers, steps inside Simpson. Now he needs to find a target up forward. He goes short, Barnard on the lead, couldn't take it. Away goes Holmes again. Gee, he's played a terrific game. Holmes barrels it towards centre half forward. Gooch went at it pretty tentatively with one hand. Plays in over the top of it. There'll probably be a bounce here, although Rose does slap it out from beneath the body for East Perth. Pendleton gathers, gets some good shepherding work from Wheatley, allows him back infield, goes looking for Sarah. Too much carry. Easy for Holmes on that occasion. He was actually caught in the wake of Sarah, but too much carry on the pass. Todd Holmes, great stats, coming in for his 16th possession. Played deeper in defence in the first half. Goes wide to the outer wing. Irving the target, biggest man in West Star Rules football, and he's been paid the mark like a juggler at the Royal Show. Dean Irving, couple of bites at it. He's the only player that legitimately had it. Subi now towards the lead of Botsis, and he's taken the mark 50 metres out. Ridley the target now at right full forward. Make it full forward proper, all on his own. Will play on, go in and kick his fourth. His third, in fact. 3 goals to Todd Ridley, 4 to Fletcher, 3 to Gooch. And some of the targets up forward are coming to life for the Lions as they edge to a 20-point margin.
Yes, well, that's an important break as you see some of the Subiaco reserves players enjoying the break that Subiaco are actually putting on the scoreboard. And yeah, 3 important players down forward, Gooch, Fletcher and Todd Ridley, providing the focal point, the majority of their scoring. But good work, good thinking by Botsis to quickly get the ball forward. Yes, he just found too much space there, Todd Ridley, coming up the ground and then working hard back. And, well, good thinking too to play on and just narrow that gap just to make sure that he kicked the goal. And, well, a good challenge now for East Perth. The gauntlet has been laid down to them.
Yes, 20 points the margin. East Perth need to respond now to keep their hopes alive. Turnbull working hard, high to half forward. Colbung, the only player to stand down, has Wheatley out to the right and into the pocket to Barnard is a good kick on a good lead, or to a good lead.
Be a tough kick from here.
Jeremy Barnard will kick from 35 metres out. He's on a fairly acute angle. Not a lot of goal to look at or aim at. And the breeze blowing the ball away from the goal, but he's come infield to Walker. Now that's lax marking. Davies got there too late. James Walker has a lot more of the goal to look at, but he's a little bit further out. We've seen some good goals kicked at this end, the City end, in this first semi-final. Both East Fremantle and West Perth had trouble at this end of the ground. Gee, got close, the man on the mark, it's touched. The umpire calling touched, and it's thumped through by Burton for the minor score. Hardingham comes on to replace Richardson. Subiaco working the ball out of the back line. Colbun, can he break the tackle? He couldn't. And the mark is taken by McFarlane, who proceeds to kick the ball out of play on the full. So East Perth gave Subiaco a let-off as Irving comes off and Antonowicz goes on. And then Subiaco have given East Perth another chance. Walker was in trouble. Carmody's done it again. Down on the full again. Well, there's a bit of pressure back there. East Perth applying plenty. Richard Graham preparing to come on. Both coaches working overtime at the moment, earning their keep. Peter Miller with the ball. He's outside 50. Puts the ball almost into the square. Colbung sets himself. Burton up in front. Burton appeared to be taken high. There's going to be a bounce in that left full forward pocket for East Perth.
All of a sudden it's Subiaco's turn to defend stoutly. It's been East Perth's defence under siege in the first quarter of an hour of this third term. It's ticking into time on now. Crooked bounce. Turnbull couldn't really get it down. Antonowicz hacks it away. Carmody, not surprisingly, opts not to kick it after putting the last two out on the full. Gathered here by Sara. He kicks back towards the top of the goal square. Knocked away from Barnard. Shawcross is there. Slides in. Opportunity for Subiaco to eventually clear through Burton. Fickle bounce beat Godden. Opportunity there for Devon Perry holding the ball. Great second effort by Tony Godden after he was beaten by a very cruel bounce.
It can be a wretched game, can't it?
The oval ball. Caught Godden out. He gives it off to Hampson, the Subiaco skipper, towards the members' wing. Gooch running back with the flight, couldn't mark. Ridley has the run of it at the back. Tries to put Roger Perry off. He wrong foots him. Left footer from Ridley. Goes awkwardly inside 50. Parker sprawled from behind. Hardingham is there. In fact, it's Fletcher. Gets a hand pass to Shawcross. Standing start from 50 metres, a couple on offer. And in the end, Daniel Parker, he's been paid it.
Something happened then. I think he got hit in the face.
Let's have a look in replay.
Well, it was after he dropped it that he got hit.
I think he actually got paid the mark.
Yeah, he did.
By preempting that he was going to hold it. An uncontested chest mark. And then he copped one. Daniel Parker has one goal earlier in this quarter. The 5-minute mark, he slotted through Subi's second of the term. Only had 4 goal scorers. Gooch with 3, Ridley 3, Fletcher 4, and now Parker looking for his second, and he's not going to get it with that kick. It just squeezes in for a behind.
A couple of opportunities, one from Fletcher and now from Parker, really could have made it very hard for East Perth. Just giving him an opportunity. Very important few minutes for East Perth to see if they can go down and score and stop Subiaco from adding to this total.
Well, that kick in was actually intended for Turnbull, and McFarlane might have been better off trying to mark that or let it go, because either way Subiaco would have got the kick, but he chose to knock the ball out of play. Not sure what he was thinking there, but it doesn't matter. It's a throw in, 55 metres around from Subiaco's goal. Gooch opposed to Turnbull. Godden at the front of the pack takes the ball out of play under pressure from Perry. Devon Perry. Throw in, right half forward. Subiaco in attack. They lead by 20 points. Gooch, but Turnbull too tall. Hand pass misses the target. Wheatley running it over. Another throw in. Still at half forward for Subiaco. 11-7 to 7-11. Equal scoring shots. Again, Turnbull does best. Taken by Waller. Hurriedly towards centre wing. Shocking bounce again. Taken by Antonowicz. He didn't really look. He's unloaded. Gone long towards half forward. Narkle misses it. Botsis back on goal. The bounce is important. It straightens up for Subiaco, but Dwyer got there. It broke the right way, but it sat up. Just wouldn't kick on. Good bounce for East Perth. 21 points the margin.
Roger Perry's gone short into the outer back pocket and found Pendleton, who goes for a run. After one bounce comes infield. Waller, an ungainly kicking style, and it's proved ungainly. It's gone out of bounds, almost on the full. The Lions by 3.5 goals after they're led by just a solitary point at half-time. In this term, they've kicked 4 goals 1 to 1-2. Sorry, 4 goals 4 to 1-2. Colbung, an opportunity. Ridden forward there perhaps by Hardingham. No whistle except for the bounce. Crowd pretty well rugged up. It's a cool night again in Perth. The football's hot though. East Perth really do need the next goal. 5 minutes into time on. Richard Graham wins it down. Colbung thought about threading a hand pass. Dwyer then lost it. Plays in over on the logo. Carmody knocked it out. Colbung, as he fell, a hand pass back. Speaking of falling over goes Pendleton, then wrapped up by Shawcross. Hand pass to Dwyer. Just eludes Headland. Free kick, is it? Going to be relayed down. No, it's going to come back. No, it will be down ground. The hand pass.
No one there to take it.
No. Colbung it'll be in the end. Position number 16 coming up here for Sean Colbung. Goes short. Sarah just forward of right wing. East Perth have a very open forward line. They're giving Jeremy Barnard plenty of room inside 50, but they go very short to Turnbull. He's a long kick. Now Ridley's gone back to try and block the path, but nonetheless he comes out on the lead. Barnard at the back. Roger Perry goes through like a fully laden freight train. Lost the ball in the process. Players in on top of it. Will have a bounce at right full forward for the Royals, who would love to conjure a goal at the 26.5-minute mark of the third term.
4 goals to 1, as Glenn mentioned, in this third term in Subiaco's favour. Big leap by Antonowicz, but it wasn't particularly effective. Be another bounce at right full forward for the Royals. They're still in this, East Perth. 21 points the margin. They'll have the advantage of the easterly breeze in the last quarter. It's not strong, but it certainly helps. Off the ground goes Subiaco. Get it back towards half-back. Oh, well picked up by Parker. Then he kicks long towards half-forward, but that's ill-directed. It carried Perry. That was advantageous for Subi. Gooch is there. Wanted the kick. Gets rid of Narkle. He's 51 metres out from goal. Back he goes. Botsis is there with Marley. Off hands. Causing some problems back there, Simeon Botsis. He's a handy size. He can take a mark overhead and he's pretty quick. Perry, who a moment ago was at full forward or in the full forward area, kicks in and kicks in well. Picks out Walker on the 50-metre line. Shawcross on the mark. Short to Waller. They're at half-back, East Perth. Just retaining possession. Sarah is the target here. Hampson coming from behind. Throw in at left centre wing for East Perth. Members side of the ground. Irving going to oppose Graham. Irving does best. Down to Waller. He was dispossessed. Fletcher to Hardingham. And going back and taking a good mark was Pendleton. Plays on quickly by hand to Marley. Marley towards half forward. Hampson at the back, uncontested.
Hand passes to McFarlane, his look-alike. Goes with the left foot in towards Parker, over the back. Pendleton was on the ground at an inopportune time. Turnbull backs him up. Hand pass to Rose, back to Turnbull. Geez, made it difficult in heavy weather, East Perth. In the end, Miller has some space, or at least finds some. Goes to half forward. Well spot from behind was Hampson by Otway, who hooks it across the body. Barnard coming out. gives it off to Wheatley, pulls it back across the body, nowhere near enough, it goes into the pocket, and Holmes is there again. Gee, he's played a great game in defence. Goes short, and the mark has been taken by Davies, who goes along the boundary line to Burton. Just backward of left wing for the Lions. We've played over 29 minutes. Each of the quarters preceding this one has gone past 31 minutes. Burton comes in towards the centre square. Fletcher waited for the ball to bounce. Waller goes through. Doesn't go with the ball though. Whistle is sounded. Free kick going to East Perth. Tackle lingered on Waller. He's got Colbung free. Opportunity for him to gather. He does now. Tries to step inside Hardingham, who then falls over to make it easier. Almost lunged after him though. Colbung from 45 metres. Not a bad effort, but drifts at the last minute across the face and through for another East Perth behind.
Jeremy Barnard won't be happy. He was 20 metres clear on the lead. The margin is 21 points. 30 minutes played in the third term, first semi-final. It's the end of the season for the loser. As Irving kicks in, he gets terrific distance with that. It wasn't a particularly good kick. And then Pendleton missed what he needed to take. Although East Perth gave a good contest, they've lost control now. Headland infield with a brilliant hand pass to McFarlane. He's met as he kicks, but it lands on the chest of Botsis. He's got a player running loose. He wants to go to him, and eventually does. It's Fletcher, but out comes Perry. Double fists it back to the 50-metre line, and Waller. Opportunities missed at both ends of the ground again. Miller going back with the flight of the ball, misses it. In comes Sara, tries to pop it over the top. He missed, intercepted by Holmes. This is Davies. Ridley back to Holmes. It misses the target. He's got time. Close to the boundary line. Chips it down in the direction of Carmody, and he's missed the mark. Put over the line, but will get the free kick. Gee, that was a bad miss back here. Botsis was undecided as to whether he should go to Fletcher or not. And when he did, it was too late. Carmody towards the 50-metre line. Not a good kick. Chance for East Perth to break it up. Marley, who's worked hard in defence. A brilliant smother. Hardingham chips towards full forward. Opportunity here for Parker if he can pull it in. Rose is with him. Knocks it to the boundary line. Well played by John Rose. 31 and a half minutes in. Gavin Rose, I'm sorry. Caught in a time warp. And there'll be a throw in 52 metres out from Subiaco's goal.
Boundary throw in, Irving, clean possession. Then a hand pass to Shawcross, shoots from 40 metres. He's missed. Subiaco have had 10 scoring shots in this quarter to East Perth's 4. And really could have been further ahead than the 22 points they are at the moment. Again, a long quarter, you can see almost 32 minutes. There's the siren. In fact, I think each quarter has gone 32 minutes or thereabouts. So what was a 1-point lead to Subiaco at half-time has become a 22-point lead to the Lions at three-quarter time. Kevin Worthington looking at the magnetic board. Wayne Otway Senior on the left of screen, figuring out what they can do. East Perth will have the breeze in the final term. Fletcher really came to life for Subiaco in that quarter. He kicked 2 goals, as he did in the first term. He's the best goal scorer on the ground with 4. Ridley 3 to give him 76 for the season. Scott Gooch, a great focal point, Loving the only multiple goal scorer for the Royals. So we're still set for a big finish here. Most of the scoring throughout the 7 quarters of football here today have been scored, or most of the goals have been scored to the right of screen, the end of which East Perth will finish with the breeze. I just wonder, Gary, though, a 22-point start, whether they can come back from that far down.
Well, it's certainly a big ask. They've got to pretty much kick another half of what they've already kicked in 1 quarter. So it's certainly got the job ahead of them. But well, funnier things have happened if they can get just a little bit of momentum. And in football, momentum and enthusiasm certainly is something that you just can't buy out there. It's very handy to have. And if they can get a couple of quick goals, all of a sudden the confidence, the teammates, the momentum starts to flow their way. Anything can happen, but Subiaco seemingly have got the answers at this particular stage, and that was a very good quarter for them. Nothing in it at half-time, and just to squeeze out to a 22-point break at three-quarter time is a nice position for Subiaco to be in, whereas Kevin Worthington's really got to try and pick his team up, and a belief that they can still win it, and that's the main thing. As long as those East Perth players believe that they can win the game, And if they get a couple of lucky breaks early or make their own breaks, then all of a sudden the game can open up again.
Quite remarkable in the general statistics. In general play, kicks and handballs, only one possession separates the two teams, which is quite remarkable. Free kicks 24-13 in favour of East Perth. You can see the marks are well and truly in favour of Subiaco, but Subi have had 4 more kicks but 3 less hand passes. So in general play, there's only one possession that have separated the teams in 3 quarters of football, Gary. The free kicks quite distorted, and the hit-outs have been in favour of Turnbull.
Yes, well, so certainly statistically, there's nothing much in this particular game, which I suppose, so if East Perth start to get the ball forward and with a bit more positive and have a few more targets, if we look at some of the highlights here, it's one of Fletcher's goals, run onto the play very nicely. He's got silky skills, there's no doubt about that, and that's a good goal on the run from a pretty tight angle. And, well, Devon Perry, I was impressed with him. He did a lot of that hard work in that quarter. He never gave up. But look at this kick by Des Headland. Big punt kick, which travels. Fletcher the better judgment. That gave him the space, time. He was then able just to steady himself, run on. Once again, beautiful kick on the run. And an important goal for Subiaco at that particular stage. I think this will be young Wayne Otway at the front of the pack here. A big pack converges. And there's Otway there, number 15. Handed the ball, I think, but anyhow, good, clever play by Otway to get the ball quickly onto his boot, and that was an important goal. And, well, what more of that from Wayne Otway Jr. In this particular quarter. He can kick some quick goals, and he is very clever around the goals, as Kevin Worthington just goes through the final lineup for them. And really, it's got to be all attack for an East Perth point of view. Can't try and hang out and save the game and defend anything. They've got to make the play, and they've got to be positive about making the play. And, well, if they can do that, then will be more than one quarter for them. If they can't, well, this will be the final quarter for East Perth's 1998 season.
3 teenagers amongst the best for Subiaco statistically. Holmes has had 15 kicks and 3 hand passes for a total of 18 disposals. McFarlane 17 and 1 for 18. He's the 22-year-old. Then Carmody 10 and 8 for 18. Fletcher 10 and 7 for 17. Holmes 19 years of age. Carmody and Fletcher both 18. Terrific performances by them so far. For East Perth, Wheatley 15 kicks and 7 hand passes for 22 disposals. Turnbull 10 and 9 for 19 has done well. Devon Perry 8 and 10 for 18. And Sean Colbung 10 and 7 for 17. The free kicks, as we mentioned, 24-13 in favour of East Perth. Inside 50 metres for the game, East Perth 55 to Subiaco's 32. And centre breaks 8 to East Perth and 7 to Subi.
Shows how well, Gary, that Subiaco defence have done as well. He said 23 more times East Perth have been inside their 50, and yet they trail on the scoreboard by 22 points.
Yes, they've really just lacked that focal point. They've certainly worked hard enough for East Perth to get the ball and to give themselves an opportunity, but just really lacked that focal point up forward.
Look at Peter Miller there, the East Perth skipper. He is hanging on every word that Kevin Worthington is saying. Some of the other players, you know, they're obviously focused, but little Peter Miller, the skipper, has not taken his gaze off the words of the coach throughout that 3/4 time address.
Yes, that's a great example. Look at him there. He's just hanging on every word. A terrific example of what a coach loves to see. Eye contact and taking everything in. And a great example by the East Perth captain of just what's required when you're listening to your coach, seeing the passion that's in the coach's voice and just hanging on every word. Great to see that.
The East Perth chant goes up, as was the case in the second semi-final earlier today. There's quite a disparity in the following here. Certainly earlier today, West Perth had a far bigger support than East Fremantle, and it's very fair to say that East Perth have a lot more supporters here this evening as opposed to Subiaco. There's a contingent of them there. So one team has just 30 minutes or so remaining in the 1998 season. At this stage, Subiaco have control of the game. They lead by 22 points, but East Perth, who have brought in some indifferent form into the final series, have won just one of their last 6 games. The Subiaco coach, Peter Thorne, is on the boundary with Phil Lamb.
Yes, he certainly is, Glenn. It's nerve-wracking down here, but Thorne, it's been a bit like this season, up and down, but the boys have played some terrific footy tonight.
Yeah, consistency has been a problem. allowed East Perth back into the game probably late in the first quarter, late in the second quarter, and unfortunately they probably could have been 3 or 4 up at half time if we had held them in the red time, whatever you want to call it. But to their credit, the third quarter was terrific, and now we're in a position to win the game, and we've just got to maintain the impetus that we've developed in that quarter.
And that tall forward line worked particularly well, kept it very open.
Yeah, a couple of handy moves, and they worked in our favour, so you take the good with the bad in those circumstances, but so far it's been good.
Some of the kids have been terrific with Todd Holmes in defence and Chad Fletcher.
Outstanding, Fletcher and Headland, but as they're well aware, it's only 3 quarters. We have 1 more quarter to go.
Well, good luck with it, Thorny. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Phil.
See ya.
Subiaco have gone forward first from the bounce. Narkle, great determination, picked himself up, tried to squeeze a kick away, unsuccessfully. He will have a bounce.
Each quarter, Glenn, Dan Parker starts at one end of the ground and then in the first minute or so runs down the other end. He's gone down, he started in the forward line this time and has gone down into defence to stand Ryan Turnbull.
This is Headland. Quick kick under pressure. High towards the top of the goal square. Packed there. Ridley almost a clever mark. Didn't certainly hold it. Here comes Davies. Hand pass. Short cross. Couldn't rein it in. Gee, Ridley should really have held that mark. He was under pressure, but the ball was falling in his favour. He was able to hold his opponent at bay, but the crucial moment, it spilt through his grasp.
O'Connor preparing to come back on. Quick change there as Miller kicks in for East Perth and goes to the outer side of the ground, and Roger Perry picks it up at the second attempt. Chips the ball to Devon Perry. Just outside the defensive 50 metres. Waller provides the shepherd. Devon Perry's kick is not as good as it should have been. Parker overran it. Subiaco with the numbers. They look to be playing more confidently. They look as though they're running the game out better at the moment. The kick wasn't good. Oh, Perry missed by Ridley. Nearly paid dearly for missing the mark, but he backs up well, Roger Perry, and kicks straight down towards centre half forward. Chance here for East Perth. The umpire's whistle's gone, and he's picked out a free kick that's going to go Wallen's way. Now here's a chance for East Perth. You'd think they'd need an early goal if they're going to win this game. Barnard has got away from Burton, takes the ball on the bounce. Burton fell over. Crucial moment. Barnard towards goal is a terrific kick. Loving is there. He was held. Chance for Otway. Holmes has got his hands full. Gets it back to Loving. Burton comes in, and Loving threw the ball away. It's going to be a throw-in. Looked like a one-handed hand pass. Maybe he was out of play. Boundary throw-in, right full forward for East Perth. Irving and Turnbull. East Perth pressing for that first goal in this final term. Simpson caught by Wallen. Bounce at right full forward.
That first goal's vital for them.
It is, certainly for East Perth. They must get it, one would think, if they're to have any chance of winning the game. Irving and Turnbull come together. Simpson, Walland off the ground. Colburn goes in. Another bounce in the forward pocket.
Strange matchup on the members' wing. Gavin Rose on O'Connor. Now they're making the change, and well they might. Marley's going to come across, and Rose is going to go back on Botsis. A lot of players milling around the ball. Deep at right full forward for East Perth. Turnbull clean possession, then pulled to ground by Irving. Godden hacks a quick kick away. Down towards the members' side. That's a clever mark taken by O'Connor. Good mark there. Got away from Marley. Kicks to the members' wing. Big pack and Gooch, the highest of the three, took the mark. Majestic. Great leap there by Scott Gooch, who's gone short and has found Des Headland. Subiaco get the first goal. It might consign East Perth to mothballs. Ridley the fly. In front, Roger Perry opts to fist it away. Waller near the boundary line. And eventually the ball has gone over. The Royals must score the first goal of the game. The margin's 23 points. If it gets to 29, they'd need 5 goals, where they've only kicked 7 in the opening 3 and a bit quarters. There need to be 5 unanswered goals as well. The ball tossed in. Gooch and Graham. Gooch won it down. Headland perhaps held. Marley takes it back towards the line. He's kept it in. Perhaps he would have preferred not to, because O'Connor got it go short, and short crosses marked. Plays on. Kicks into the umpires, ricocheted off umpire Simon Gill's head. That's using your noggin up. Through goes Roger Perry. Takes a bounce. That's a shocking kick. He had 2 players either side of McFarlane.
He's going to lose it.
No, just being told to hold up, but Roger Perry, shocking disposal.
Well, and Turnbull at centre half forward with his height, why not go there?
He was a bit lucky then, McFarlane. It was a fairly aggressive attack on Miller, even if he was being niggled. Parker with the ball at right half forward for Subiaco. That's a good kick, a penetrating kick. Rose up high, but it's going to be an East Perth free kick. Perry was interfered with. Gooch crashing into his back. So Roger Perry with the free kick at fullback. Colbung. They're still inside the defensive 50-metre zone. Another solid performance from Sean Colbung. 18 disposals. Perry has it. He's kicked to a one-on-one contest here. Perry and Godden. Devon Perry has done reasonably well, or he did until he ran into a tackle. And then Waller sweeps the ball across the turf for a throw-in at left half forward for Subiaco. Tony Godden just looking a little the worse for wear. East Perth just can't get the momentum going that they need to try to kick goals, certainly to kick the 4 unanswered goals they need to win. Really seem to be making hard work of it, as they did through that third quarter. Devon Perry is in trouble. Narkle gets the hand pass away, taken by Pendleton. Back through the traffic into the centre square, and Miller up in front of the pack. Takes a courageous mark and away he goes. Players weren't watching. He kicks high in the Loving direction. Here comes Holmes from behind. Spoils again. And Holmes is injured, I suspect. He's gone to ground. McFarlane, no, he's back on his feet. McFarlane took them all on. Hand passes backward of the play. They've done it well. And Stenglein will take the mark. McFarlane backing up. Kicks now across the half-back line, but that's not a good clearance. It didn't quite get to its target, Fletcher. Fletcher loses control. Wheatley assumes control. Hooks the ball back towards the boundary line, and that's an indication of East Perth not having the momentum. Wheatley didn't have the options once they got control of the ball and had to play defensively in the forward line.
I think they're getting tired, Wal, and just players not working hard enough to get numbers at the ball, and that's a bad sign for East Perth.
Irving and Turnbull. Turnbull leans over, wins it down. Marley, in fact, Waller knocks it back towards the line, and we'll go through it again.
So they're playing to survive and not playing to win at the moment, and really they've just got to try and get some momentum. They just haven't been able to put a couple of quick goals on the scoreboard. If they could do that, they would get the excitement level right up.
Yes, there is no tomorrow this season for the loser here. Walker, well tackled, brilliantly tackled. That's holding the ball. Hardingham wrapped him up. Daniel Hardingham with the free kick. Terrific tackle. Walker had his right fist pinned. He was grabbed around the wrist. Couldn't get a hand pass away. Hardingham to left half forward. Ridley the target, but Gooch in front almost took the mark for Subi. Ridley the recovery on the ground. Kicks now inside the attacking 50. Roger Perry comes out. Waller from the opposite direction. Now Waller needs to do something on the ground for East Perth. Botts is hot on his hammer. Pushes him away. It's gone off his boot out of bounds. I thought when it made contact it was going to travel with enough velocity to actually clear the line on the full, but it found ground in time as far as Andrew Waller was concerned. Throw in. Gooch in front. Double palms it down. Quick kick by Fletcher to the top of the goal square. Roger Perry coming out in defence. Botsis burns him off. Kicks then into the oncoming Wheatley. It ricochets. Rose's kick is blanketed. Devon Perry is there. The East Perth defence stands tall again. Richard Graham, sport from behind by O'Connor on the outer wing. Subiaco a chance through McFarlane. He props. Hand passes backwards. Opportunity for his skipper Hampson. That's an awkward hand pass. Walker took his eyes off the ball. Now he gathers it, but turns it over with a hand pass directly to Daniel Parker.
Who in turn spears it up towards Ridley. Ridley tried to keep it in, just couldn't quite do it. He could get a free kick. No, he won't. Looked as though there had been a fairly solid attack on him. Just keep your head out of it, Todd. Waller is the player he's remonstrating with. Boundary throw in, right half forward for Subiaco. 9 minutes played. Something's happened off the ball.
Again between Ridley and Waller, I think. And it'll be a free kick to Ridley.
He's going to report him too.
Now, I saw what happened initially.
A little knee, I think. A little knee into the leg, I think, of Ridley.
Must have been just before that.
Yep.
But Waller has been reported.
Needs to focus. He's blowing a kiss to Todd Ridley at the moment.
And umpire Repper just saying, hold on, Todd. Here it is again. There's a bit of a niggle. And then, he's just a very gentle tap that Todd milked for what it was worth. For all it was worth, I mean. And now, where's he going? Oh, Ridley's coming up to mark his mark. Well, we've played about 9.5 minutes in the final quarter. There's still time for East Perth, and they've shown a lot more character today or tonight than they have in recent weeks. They need to finish this game off as Ridley takes Waller on from 45 metres, kicks it goal, and kicks the goal. And that may well be the death knell for East Perth. Well, that's really rubbing salt into the wound. He ran at Waller, looked as though he was going to kick, and off he went. 12-11 to 7-12. Ridley has 4.
Andrew Waller just continues his run up the field, straight off the ground into the interchange bench. So certainly Todd Ridley has had the last laugh in that confrontation. That's the way that you answer that sort of stuff. You answer it with a goal, and the opponent gets taken from the ground.
Irving outrucks Graham in the middle. Davies got it across then towards Carmody. Quick kick for Gooch with courage. Backing back into the unknown. And an opportunity for him to bag his 5th after that strong mark, surrounded by 3 defenders. Showed terrific focus for the contest. And he should be able to kick his 4th to join Chad Fletcher and Todd Ridley just a moment ago, who bagged his 4th.
4 goal scorers for Subi, Glenn.
Yeah, amazing, and 3 of them will have contributed, if he can slot this one through, 12 of the 13 goals. Amazing. Very courageous attempt at the football then by Scott Gooch. It deserves a goal. Directly in front from about 40 metres out. And he's nailed it. 4 goals apiece to Gooch, Fletcher and Ridley. And Subiaco, it would appear at this stage, 12 minutes into the final quarter, are heading for a showdown with West Perth in next week's preliminary final.
Yes, well, I think you're right there, Glenn. But yeah, you called it well there. Good bit of courage. Scott Gooch had to back there. Eyes on the ball, backing back. Knew that there was a contest coming from behind him. He has got a very good pair of hands, and he is a beautiful kicker of the football. Scott Gooch, as we mentioned, probably been in football wilderness for 3 or 4 years, and that's only due to injury. So you have to admire his courage and determination just to keep hanging in there, to keep the belief there. He's eventually getting some reward, playing finals football and playing very good finals football.
His father, Alan, was one of the state's best tennis players in the 60s. As the ball is taken forward by East Perth, and it's going to be a free kick to the Royals.
Scott Gooch himself works with Paul McNamee, organising the Hopman Cup each year.
Devon Perry with the kick towards full forward, and Graham almost the mark. Burton put him under pressure. Walker tackled by Burton. Back to Graham. Graham towards full forward, Loving from the side, and there's Holmes again. He really has been a thorn in Scott Loving's boot tonight. John Dimmer watching on. He will play the winner of this game. His team will play the winner of this game in next week's preliminary final.
I think he's got an idea already who it's going to be.
And he would have some concerns about what he's seeing here. It's a much improved performance by Subiaco as Davies knocks the ball back towards the boundary line. Walker is there, within McFarlane. Off the ground goes Davies. Walker's hand pass back through the traffic. Irving lost control of the ball. Walker towards full forward, and Loving this time gets away from Holmes and takes the mark on his chest about 35 metres out from goal.
Well, Loving could kick his 3rd here, Gary, but you'd almost have Holmes in your best 3 or 4 on the ground.
Todd Holmes' performance tonight has been outstanding, no doubt about that. Loving's job is to kick goals, but Holmes has just repelled time and time again. And I think the indication is how many times East Perth have been inside 50, and Todd Holmes has repelled a lot of them.
Loving for his 3rd. Makes no mistake. East Perth get their 8th. They're 8-12, Subi 13-11, 14.5 minutes in.
First score of the quarter for the Royals with the bruise.
Yes.
29 points the margin. They could still do it. We talked earlier in the game, Gary, about the famous first semi-final between these two teams in 1958. At three-quarter time, as I was saying then, East Perth led by 39 points at three-quarter time. With a minute to play, Subi kicked a goal that put them 3 points in front, and then Vic Evans kicked a goal with 20 seconds to play that won it for the Royals.
Turnbull heads him in the right direction again from the bounce. Devon Perry's tackle, that should be holding the ball. It is. He actually made no attempt to release it under the pressure there of the tackle from Carmody. He gives it off immediately to Davies, who rides a heavy bump, so he kicks it to the attacking 50. Two East Perth players up in defence. Opportunity for the Royals at ground level to force a bounce, and they've done that. Bit of a niggle off the ball involving Peter Miller and Scott Gooch. Miller's fighting out of his weight division there. We'll have a bounce wrong into the ground though for the Royals, 40 metres out from Subi's goal mouth. They lead by 29 points. 16 minutes played in the final quarter. Gooch soccers it towards the boundary line at right full forward. Godden tried to tap it back and keep it alive, but we'll have a throw in. Ball hurled in. Irving wins it down. Narkle is there for East Perth. A hurried kick in the end towards the outer side. It's out on the full. Too hurried.
And East Perth really, if they're to get any chance at all, they need to score very quickly from this point in time, and then probably go back and out of the centre break score again. So they do need to get a move on. They just can't afford to play at the time.
Thumping drop punt from Damien Hampson at the back. Botsis, he's got a player in the goal square. If he can get it across there to O'Connor, he couldn't. And Marley breaks it up for the Royals. Hooks it back towards the outer half-back flank. Otway tracking towards the boundary line. He went out, but the ball was in. Grubbers a kicker back along the chalk off the shins of Wheatley on the bounce. And another throw-in.
29 points the margin. Stenglein and Wheatley. Now Irving and Turnbull. Irving getting his hand on the ball. Davies was there. Watway charging through. Fletcher. McFarlane. Kick's gone astray. Marley has it. And he's got support ahead of the play. Wheatley's between left centre wing and left half forward. Finds Barnard. Still a long way from goal. Zara limping off the ground. High kick towards full forward. Loving up. Holmes crashing over the top. Carmody out of the pack to Burton. And now Headland. And Subiaco bring the ball out of defence. Trying to draw Waller. A good effort by Waller, and he's forced Headland to run too far. That was well played by Waller.
Should have given the ball off to Jared Shawcross. Headland just tried to be a little bit too fancy with that one. Shawcross was ahead and would have been able to run on.
Waller trying to get the ball on quickly. He realises that if East Perth are going to pull this game out of the fire, they've really got to do something very, very quickly. And that was a good, brave mark taken by Pendleton. He goes towards the 50-metre line, and Loving, who takes the mark at the second attempt. And Todd Holmes is a little bit disappointed. He's a fair way up from goal, Loving, but he's a good kick, we know that. Now this would be quite ironic if he was to concede 4 goals to Loving. He has conceded 3, but has clearly been one of the best players on the ground. He won't concede his 4th with that kick. Turnbull up at the front of the pack. Barnard, hand pass into the pocket. Colburn, duck back looking for trouble, but it wasn't there. In fact, Colburn may have been injured in that. I didn't know. He's okay. The clearing kick lands with Roger Perry. He tries to take Carmody on. Hand passes to Turnbull. Turnbull to Devon Perry. Devon Perry's in trouble. Turnbull has it again and unloads and just misses to the right. Ryan Turnbull. You're disappointed to be playing in this game, I'm sure. Would have been hoping to have been in the Eagles lineup. Kick in is a good one. Finds Burton on the defensive 50-metre line.
It's an opportunity for Travis Burton to get Subiaco out of danger. He takes plenty of time, runs close to Loving, the man on the mark. As a result, he really had to chip it high and awkwardly over him. Irving spoilt there by Turnbull. Ball on the ground. Purcell, hand pass to Dwyer. They need a goal. 55 metres out. Going back, little Otway is there, but in front, Loving has taken the mark, and this certainly will be his 4th goal. He's only a dozen metres out, directly in front. And actually, Holmes wasn't in the frame on that occasion. One of the few times he hasn't been in close proximity in an attempt to spoil. He bangs it through. The margin is 22 points. And we've just entered time on in the final quarter, so there is still time for the Royals to pinch what seemed a few minutes ago a highly improbable victory.
Yes, and it's just amazing how when you get the ball quickly into your forward line, you do give your forwards a chance. There's the ball, get a break and drive the ball along to the top of the square. All of a sudden, players look for their opponents, and Scott Loving in that particular was able to drift in from the side with his opponent just caught out of position there, Todd Holmes, and give Scott Loving a chance to run at the ball. He's got a good pair of hands, and he finished off very well.
If we run true to form, we've probably still got 11 minutes to go on the preceding 3 quarters.
22 points the margin. Headland had the ball knocked out of his hand. Here come East Perth again. Pendleton, he moves to the 50-metre line under pressure from Carmody. Takes a dive. Good umpiring. Oh, great mark, Burton. Oh, spectacular mark. But there's a free kick. Or is there? No, there's not. It's a mark to Burton. I thought a Subiaco player was going to be awarded a free kick. Gee, that was a terrific leap. Short kick just finds Antonowicz. Subiaco just need to steady here. They're under threat. Kick is off the side of the boot and out on the full. Free kick to Pendleton. He's at right half forward. Kick short, not a good kick, and it's raked in by Fletcher. East Perth haven't got margin for error. They can't afford to turn the ball over like that. He's kicked 4 goals. Chad Fletcher had 19 disposals before that one. Kicks towards centre wing. Oh, terrific mark by Botsis. East Perth just need to summon a little bit more. Botsis is at centre wing. Kicks high. Ridley's the target. Perry's with him. Perry does best. Purcell at the front of the pack. Over the top to Pendleton, getting a lot of possessions. Kicks from centre wing to half forward. Loving up high. Holmes over the top. Fletcher at the front of the pack. Otway applying the pressure. Well played. Threw it out. The umpire didn't see it. In fact, he paid the free kick to East Perth. Loving from the 50-metre line has just missed. Burton going back, does it again. He's doing a good job back there, Travis Burton. It allowed Peter Thorne to put Parker forward. Although Parker is currently back there as well. And that's 2 good marks in the last couple of minutes. East Perth crowd getting anxious and impatient. The kick is just outside 50. Parker up in the pack. East Perth at ground level. Wheatley to Narkle. Narkle back to full forward. Burton is at the back again. Off hands and through for the minor score. But they're still having a go, East Perth. 13-11 to 9-14. 21 points the margin.
Subiaco come towards the members' side. They need to touch this one. They do. Just inside the line, Fletcher gathers. Almost over without being touched. Ridley, good mark. Had the better of Roger Perry. Ridley, wide to the man who kicked it to him, Fletcher. On by hand to Shawcross. Goes inside 50. Big leap by Waller. Almost took it on the fall. Tried to tap it away, but O'Connor rescues it for Subiaco. He goes short. Doesn't carry to Dean Irving. Little Peter Miller can't find the handle. Simeon Botsis is buried and will have a bounce. Well inside Subiaco's attacking 50. They lead by 21 points, the Lions. You can see there just one more scoring shot for Subiaco, but they've been more accurate. Irving wins it down, but straight to Peter Miller, who hand passes away to Pendleton. Goes short and finds a diving and sliding Turnbull. He picks himself up, goes the spiral torpedo, but doesn't get onto it. It'll land with plenty of Subiaco players, the best placed of whom was Parker, who gave it to Ridley, off by hand to Antonowitz, who takes a bounce. Talented youngster. Kicks inside 50, East Perth, the numbers. Gooch though, no, Botsis makes it hard. This could be the winning goal. It's going to bounce. Oh, it's gone at right angles. Almost went backwards. Taken by Butcher. Haven't seen a lot of him, Ken Butcher. He goes short, and Walker has it at left full back for East Perth.
Nearly 25 minutes played. Time running out for East Perth now. They need to kick 4 unanswered goals to win. They trail by 21 points. That was intended for Narkle, and I don't think he realised it. It gives Antonowicz a chance. He breaks the Dwyer tackle. Carmody has it. Carmody towards full forward, and the mark. Good mark has been taken down there.
There's Headland.
By Headland. Long way from centre wing. Good reach. As Butcher comes off and Rose goes on. So Headland, can he become Subiaco's 5th goal scorer? Oh, don't think so. Not a good effort. It doesn't matter, I don't think. I think time has run out for East Perth. But coaches don't like to see players miss shots like that. Roger Perry. The margin's still 22 points. Nearly 26 minutes have elapsed. Kick into the pocket, finds Walker.
They'll start to bring the ball straight down the middle, Wal.
Yes, they haven't got time to be going the long way home. Almost a good mark out there to Turnbull. Player allowed to go on. Antonowicz working hard. Godden back to Antonowicz. He can go across to centre half forward and Ridley. Half volley. Drew Colbung. Hardingham. He's got Hampson loose. That's McFarlane, I'm sorry. McFarlane in towards the pocket. Good kick. And the mark has been taken by Shawcross. Player loose in the pocket is O'Connor. And Nathan O'Connor will shoot for goal from 35 metres out. He's on a very acute angle. It'll be pretty tough from there. It would take a very good kick. You can see him away to the left. Away to the left, what, the grey?
Brill crew. No. It's down the wrong end for East Perth. One would feel that time has just run out for them, but they can't afford to take it around the boundary lines. Peter Miller would be interesting. I'm sure he'll kick it straight down the middle of the ground.
Miller,
he should do.
All the Subiaco players that are down there just trying to zone. He goes short. And Rose takes the mark. Gavin Rose, former Sydney Swan, high towards the outer wing. Turnbull takes the mark. Ryan Turnbull, time you think has elapsed as far as East Perth season is concerned. Pendleton marks backward of the centre circle. Players are streaming down the ground. One of them is Roger Perry. He takes the mark. Plays on by hand, finds Kane Purcell, tacking edge of the centre square, looks for Graham, but cutting across his bows, O'Connor, who knocked the ball down. Jeremy Barnard, the blind spin, back to Purcell, 52 metres out. They need a mark. Oh, geez, landed right on the base of his spine there, Scott Loving. Subiaco clear it to the outer side, and that would have hurt. Loving has landed right on the tailbone. Watch it here. His legs went from underneath him and bang, he has landed flat on his back. He's been East Perth's only multiple goal scorer. He's kicked 4. Turnbull wins it down. Subiaco through their skipper Hampson though. Back to his deputy in O'Connor. Standing start kick to the outer side, but Narkle takes the mark. 28.5 minutes into the final quarter. Barnard on the lead, couldn't mark at the back. Wheatley an opportunity from 49 metres, straightens up, won't have the carrot, was touched. Went through the fingertips of Burton, who's been a tremendous defender in the last quarter and a bit. And East Perth get back to within 22 points.
It's also another great story that Travis Burton had a year off last year working in a mine in Russia. And he just had enough of football and had too many injuries and getting his opportunity to play finals.
Hardingham kicking in dangerously, but they've got away with it. McFarlane again, he's been a good player. There it is. Subiaco have won the first semi-final, 13-13 to 9-15. The margin 22 points in favour of the Lions, and they will go through to play West Perth in the preliminary final.
Yes, so East Perth's season has come to an end. Todd Ridley there, who kicked 4 goals this afternoon or this evening under lights at Subiaco Oval. Tony Godden, who had an injury-interrupted season, perhaps would have been called up to the Fremantle Dockers more regularly had it not been for injury. But look at that, they kicked 13 goals and 3 players provided 12 of them. Gooch, Todd Ridley and Chad Fletcher. And Loving is pretty much a lone hand, although his battle up forward with Todd Holmes was absolutely engrossing throughout the game. So Subiaco will play West Perth, who were defeated by 53 points in the earlier game today, the second semi-final. And the winner of that match next weekend will advance to meet East Fremantle in the grand final at Subiaco Oval in a fortnight. But from what we saw in the previous game today, Gary, where West Perth were held to just 3 goals, you'd imagine that West Perth might have a battle to get over the top of Subiaco. We'll get some comments from Gary in a moment. Sam McFarlane is down below us with Phil Lamb.
Yes, Glenn, and he looks as though he's done a hard night's work, Sammy, but it was a great team effort by the team tonight.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, we've had an up and down sort of year. I mean, we haven't been playing well this half of the year, but we've come through now. And when it really counts, that's when we put it on. It's been excellent.
Must give you a great degree of confidence, because West Perth tonight soundly beaten. They'll be lacking in confidence, and yet Subiaco seem to have just peaked at the right time.
We know that on our day we can beat anyone. We went up at Joondalup earlier on. We had a quarter. We think we kicked 7 goals to their 0 or something like that. So I mean, we know we can beat them. So it'll be an interesting game next week. Looking forward to it.
Any concern about the fact that the entire score, 12 of the 13 goals tonight were kicked by only three players, so only 4 goal scorers?
That's something Thorny's been on us for a while. I mean, don't be too Ridley focused, and we've got to try and spread it around. If everyone else can kick a few goals, that's when we win the game. So.
And Sam McFarlane got a lot of the footy. It was an interesting duel between yourself out there and James Walker.
He's a great player. He had the better of me out at Perth one day when we played out there, so I owed him one, but I think it was pretty even.
And the young guys, Chad Fletcher with his package of goals was brilliant. Todd Holmes down in defence. He didn't want to talk to us after the game, but had his hands full with Scott Loving.
He did well. He got told he had the job on Loving, and I think he worked hard all day.
Sammy, well done. All the best against West Perth next week. I'm sure it'll be a great game.
Yeah, thanks, man.
See you, Sam.
Glory, glory, Subiaco blaring out over the PA system. Tremendous performance under lights here by Subiaco, and as we mentioned just before we went downstairs to Phil Lamb, Gary, I think West Perth will have a battle on their hands next week to qualify for the grand final.
Well, certainly on tonight's performance, or today's performance, West Perth pretty unimpressive, but Subiaco tonight, on the other hand, were quite good, and I think all goes well for a very good contest next week.
So Subiaco leaving the ground victorious. The preliminary final next week, East Fremantle are already through to the grand final. They thumped West Perth today in the second semi, the first game here at Subiaco Oval, by 53 points. And we've just seen a 22-point winning margin to Subiaco over East Perth. So East Perth have to now look to 1999, while for Subiaco, they look to West Perth. I trust you'll be able to join us for the preliminary final next week, and more importantly, the grand final in a fortnight.